Swung a line to left center, base hit, and the A's have won it on a walk.
Of NFL players are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week after allegedly violating the NFL's policy on gambling, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers joins a growing list of subjects implicated in prohibited gambling acts according to league guidelines. The NFL plans to reinforce and clarify its gambling policy to players and personnel amid the rapid proliferation of sports betting. I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown sports headlines. Welcome into Cattles and Ramie.
Not the boring, generic milquetoast stuff coming from the network in Connecticut.
I describe him as the best, obviously.
Cattles.
He throws it out there, speaks his mind. That's cool.
And Ramie.
He's supposed to make people laugh. He's just an expert at it.
Cattles and Ramie. Live and local in the afternoon.
Sactown sports.
Ramie, how's your day?
Just got a little better.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, a little sunshine right before the show.
Yes, sir.
Little blast of sunshine.
Yes, sir.
Happening consistently lately.
Oh, I was just talking about, this is my second cup of coffee of the day.
Yeah.
I told you yesterday
Yeah.
I'm trying to cut back from 5 to 3.
I was talking about my drive-in.
And here's number 2.
Yeah.
And I made it fresh. And Nick.
We don't need to do this. We don't need to do the smells and the sounds. And we don't need to do that.
Those are pretty large cups, by the way, Ramie. That is a full flask full of coffee.
Yeah, it's not a cup.
Flask.
It's like 3 cups in one.
I didn't fill it to the brim. But yeah, this
No, because that would be outrageous.
cup of coffee number 2 right here.
Filling it to the brim
Oh,
instead of having like 4 of those.
I like
Yeah, it's
coffee.
just
I miss coffee.
Are you a straight up guy, or are you putting a little
just
hazelnut
straight,
in there
No,
or
just
something?
straight black coffee,
Okay.
Simone.
All right.
Just the
A purist.
beans. Just the beans.
Just
You
the
know what I
bean
mean?
water.
Yes.
Okay.
you're really bothering me.
I'm looking at Ramie's camera. He's gazing lovingly into that flask.
It's gross. Can we just move forward? By the way, shout out to the lady who was in the parking lot when I drove in, who decided to just fill the parking spot with the front half of her car while her ass was out, and I could not drive. I couldn't quite get past the car, and she's just sitting there like she took a regular spot when she's clearly crooked and half in the spot.
In our parking lot?
Yes, and she was just sitting there.
There's a person in the car?
Does she work
Yes.
here?
Yeah, it
I
feels
don't know.
like you're talking about a coworker.
I've never seen her. I've never seen her.
Thank you, Simone.
She was in the front part of it.
Oh, okay.
The front that part of our parking lot.
Not the gated part.
So it could have been anybody.
okay.
And she's just sitting there like she wasn't doing anything wrong. Like again, half of the vehicle, the back end of the vehicle is outside of the spot, and it's just like kind of in the way as you're trying to get to the
Starting the show on very different ends of the
little gate
spectrum here. I couldn't be more pleased with my coffee.
Maybe I should take up coffee.
You probably should. Probably should.
Maybe I should do something about that. I don't know.
Just find something you love as much as Ramie loves staring into that coffee cup.
It just it's creepy how much he invests into that coffee. All right, let's get to the Kings here on this Wednesday. Happy hump day, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Cattles and Ramie here on Sactown Sports. So James Ham yesterday, Ramie, reported that the Kings and Harrison Barnes, they were talking 3 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden, 3 weeks ago, all talk stopped. Just stopped.
Ghosted.
Nothing was happening.
Yeah, ghosted, yeah.
That was yesterday. Now, Ham today is reporting that Barnes and the Kings are back at the table discussing a contract. What do you make of that?
I don't know what to make of it, Nick. I really don't. But you know what? When the report first came out, and they said they were 85% there, and then things went silent. 85% is not as close as one might think. You know what I mean? 85% is still a ways away. 85% is almost where you start negotiations. Like we're you know what I mean? Like we're in agreement on 85% of this. There's 15% that we need to hammer out. 15% is a long way to go. So I thought oh, well, the talks, at first I was like, that's weird. And then I was like, the more I thought about it, I was like, well, the talks just broke down, but now apparently they're coming back to the table. And I don't know if that means that, we've been talking a lot, and a lot of people have been speculating when you look around the NBA world that Monty had a guy in mind. He had a plan in mind when he made this trade to free up the cap space by sending number 24 and Rashawn Holmes to Dallas. I don't know if they caught smoke signals that whatever that was is now not going to be coming to fruition. Whoever that was not now coming to fruition.
Yeah.
So they came back to Harrison Barnes. But it is weird that if that's the timeline, that it was 3 weeks of radio silence pretty much after they were 85% of the way there, that now they're back to the table. Something had to have brought somebody back to the table. Either Harrison Barnes saw or heard what his value might be out there on the market and is coming back to what maybe the Kings had on the table, or the Kings are hearing that they might not be getting what they wanted on the market. So now they're coming back to Harrison Barnes, one way or the other.
Yesterday I talked about this idea that the Kyle Kuzma, Draymond Green talk was a smokescreen, that Kuzma and Green's representation was working overtime to try to make people believe that the Kings were ready to just throw the bag at one of those two guys. And I do wonder that, the end of the day, the Kings might have been talking to those players, might have been talking to Green, might have been talking to Kuzma. I'm sure they placed phone calls, and maybe, just maybe, the price is too high for Monty. And so maybe after going down the road with representation, because don't get it twisted, everybody knows how much somebody is actually going to pay each person in the league. Everybody knows that. This is not, it's hampering. Give me a break. Everybody's talking. Everybody has conversations. Behind closed doors, people know. So maybe, just maybe, Monty has an inclination that this is not going to work. The Kyle Kuzma thing, the Draymond Green thing, and this is Monty pivoting. He's going back to HB, and he's saying, hey, can we close this deal because some other options weren't necessarily coming to fruition. That's a possibility. There's also a possibility that Harrison Barnes has talked to teams and understands that he might not be getting the kind of bag he was hoping for. And maybe HB, that 85%, right, the 15% that was left, was Harrison thinking he was worth a few more million and saying to himself, oh, yeah, I'll talk to Indiana. I'll talk to this team. I'll talk to that team. And then all of a sudden, maybe HB's market is not as hot as he thought it was going to be.
Right.
And maybe he's crawling back to the Kings saying, you know what, Monty, if we're talking 4 for 60, that might not be a bad deal after all.
Because people are, don't get it twisted, people are talking. Like, I know nobody's allowed to do anything.
Oh, they're talking
until Friday, but there's a reason why you see contracts getting signed at, I don't know what the official start time is of free agency, but say it's midnight, you see contracts signed, sealed, and delivered at 12:01 a.m. You know what I mean? People are talking and they're getting an idea of what the market is. Teams are getting an idea of how interested players might be in coming over to their organization. And players are getting an idea of what their market might be like, how many teams might be in on them, what kind of bidding war, and what kind of value they might have out there. I think this says to you that one or both sides here in these negotiations, if it's been 3 weeks of silence, Nick, one or both sides has heard something that has them coming back to the table and considering extending this thing between Harrison Barnes and the Kings.
So maybe HB found out he's not going to be some team's plan and he's come back. Maybe the Kings have found out that option A, option B. I don't know if HB was option C, option D, option A. I have no idea. He certainly wasn't option A, because if he was option A, they would not have stopped talking 3 weeks ago.
When they were at 85%.
So whether it's C, D, E, F, whatever, maybe they found out that option A and B are not likely. And so now you got to kind of cover your tracks. You go back to the conversation and you try to wrap up that 15%. The ultimate question for me as well when we look at Harrison Barnes, because nobody anticipates or expects Barnes to make like $20 million a year. That's not going to happen. That's not his market. Nikola Vucevic just signed for $20 million a year with Chicago on an extension. HB's not getting $20 million a year. If you could get a reasonable deal out of HB, the question is then, Ramie, are 2 deals better than 1? And maybe, just maybe, Monty's looking at the market. And maybe Kyle Kuzma's market is $25 million from somebody, and Monty is uncomfortable going to $25 million. Monty would rather pay $20 million. And so maybe Monty looks at it and says, well, do I want to overpay somebody who's going to be on the market? Maybe it's even, let's just throw out the theoretical Draymond Green. Maybe Green knows he can get 25 per from Golden State and he wants 30 per from Sacramento. And Monty's like, we're not paying you $30 million a year, Draymond. Not happening on my watch. Maybe after assessing the field and going through all of these conversations, it's certainly possible that you look at this market and you say to yourself, well, HB at 15 million, and then we still have another 20 million or so to use. So maybe that's the best way to attack this. Instead of overpaying one guy, we get a guy back in HB that we know and we trust and we're confident in, and then we have another 20 million to spend on other pieces. Maybe that's what's happening. But obviously there's been a shift here the last couple of weeks.
Can I throw one more, probably less juicy possibility?
Throw it on the pile,
at
baby.
you?
Throw it on the pile.
It's not juicy. Maybe this is just one last check-in, like before both sides
could be
go out into the market and see what's out there.
Could 100% be that.
Like, hey, so this is as far as you're willing to go? Yeah, and this is as far as you're willing to go. Yep. And that's it. Okay. Maybe we'll talk in a few days if we don't find something better out there. You know what? This could just be that.
It's a really good point. You could have one last check-in. Maybe HB has an offer, right? He finally has an offer. He knows what he's going to make. Let's say Indiana is going to pay him, hey, HB will give you $16 million a year. All right, well, let me go back to Sacramento with that offer. He's not going to tell them that, most likely, but maybe he goes back to Monty and says, this is what's on the table. Can you beat it? Can you match it? Whatever. How much can you give me? Maybe Monty has an offer on the table for a player and says to himself, well, maybe I'd rather have HB in another piece, so let me go back to HB, see if he has any crazy offers on the table, or if he's now more open-minded to the deal we were talking about 3 weeks ago. There's all sorts of options. We ultimately have no idea, but it's rather obvious.
To speculate, though.
It's
fun.
There's been a bit of a roller coaster when it comes to these conversations between Barnes and the Kings as they try to figure out what they're going to do 2 days from now. Getting ready for free agency on Friday with all of you. Your thoughts. So 3 weeks ago, conversations with HB stopped, and now we find out today that HB and the Kings are back at the table. Your thoughts on that? Why do you think that happened? What do you think's happening? Coffee. Can you just let me get my question out to the people and then maybe talk about coffee? You can't help yourself, can you?
It's so good.
Just can't help yourself.
It's just really, really good. It's fresh. It's hot. It smells so good.
That air break brought to you by Ramie Makloff. 916-339-1140 is the text line. The phone number is 1-800-920-1140. The YouTube channel, as always, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140. Your theories on this HB King situation. We'll get to your reaction. Also, did the NBA screw over Sacramento? We'll get to the latest in 90 seconds.
The King season might be over, but Sactown Sports coverage never stops.
Guys on other teams, when they look at the Sacramento Kings, they feel that this is a fun brand of basketball to play.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Did you know that money market accounts offer higher dividends than a traditional savings account, all while still being able to access your money at any time? Hey, Jason Ross here, and I want to tell you to step up your earning power with a Level Up money market savings account at Safe Credit Union. With competitive dividend rates, you can take your savings to the next level. Visit safecu.org/levelup for more information and to open up an account today. Insured by NCUA.
The market for
with you 1 mile at a time during the afternoon drive. Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
So how about this? Adrian Wojnarowski 20 minutes ago tweets out that the T-Wolves are declining to guarantee Taurean Prince's $7.4 million contract this upcoming season. So Prince will be a free agent. And Prince just quote tweeted Woj's tweet. Sheesh. Appreciate the heads up, Woj.
What is going on in the NBA? Where all these guys are finding out that they're getting traded, released, etc., the same way that we are.
And it's not like it was a minute later. Prince quote tweeted Woj 15 minutes after Woj's tweet.
Yeah, that means that 15 minutes went by and nobody told him.
Yes. So this got to Woj and nobody told Prince. And Prince sees on Twitter,
wow,
you're guaranteed money. Yeah, the option's not going to get picked up.
Maybe he just didn't have his phone next to him.
I would have to imagine that
he did tweet.
He picked up his phone.
No, but I mean, like, maybe he was coming back from the gym and then checked his phone a couple hours later and was like, oh, guess they're not guaranteeing my contract, huh?
That's wild.
Yeah, it's just, that's pretty funny. Bo says, Nick is so mad, LOL. Roll with the punches, my friend. Oh, Bo, trust me. I have rolled with the punches for more than a year, my friend. And I continue to roll. I'm not that mad. I am not mad at all at Ramie's love of coffee.
Have you tried coffee?
Now, could he wait maybe 15 seconds before expressing his love once again? Yes. Will he? No. Because it's Ramie. We've come to accept that. We're talking about HB and the Kings to start the show. If you're just joining us,
just got things I got to say.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Like making noises about his coffee. It has to happen. He's got to do it. So we were talking about HB. James Ham reported yesterday that as of 3 weeks ago, the Kings and HB stopped talking. Then Ham today reports that HB and the Kings are back at the table. Just kind of your thoughts about Barnes, your thoughts about them getting back to the table. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Cole G says, I don't think Barnes would leave for a couple million more per year. We don't know that. I mean, a couple million per year. If he's going to sign a 3-year deal and it's $2 to $3 million more somewhere else, I don't know if Barnes is going to turn down an extra $8 million. He could. But I think sometimes people get wrapped up into this notion of the, hometown discount. Mic check.
Mic check. I didn't want to make the coffee noises on the mic, so I turned off my mic when I took my last sip of coffee. Yeah, no, that's
mic check.
That's
mic
almost
check.
never a thing.
Mic check.
That's going to happen. That a guy's going to take $8 million. I wouldn't. I'll tell you right now. I'm not taking $8 million less.
Yeah.
To work somewhere. It's just not going to happen. So I'm sorry.
We have no idea. Cole does say he'd pay Barnes $16 million this year, $14 next year, 2-year deal, $30 million. Doesn't want to hamstring the future. I think that makes sense. Short-term deal, averages at about $15 million, $16 million a year would make a lot of sense for Barnes. Mr. Jason 916, Barnes is trash in the playoffs. Yeah, he hasn't been good. And this year it was
a
bad.
bit harsh, but yes, message received.
This year he was really bad.
But if he had just hit one shot in game 4, he would have been a clutch playoff hero.
Not that MC in the YouTube chat, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140. Maybe it's as simple as the Kings offered Barnes 85% of what he was asking for. How about that? What's 85% of $20 million?
17.
Well, so if you think of it that way, maybe the Kings were offering like 16, 17 million, and maybe HB thought he could get 20. And now he knows he can't get 20.
So there's your $8 million that he's leaving on the table.
So we'll see what happens. Again, it could be a million different things as to why Harrison and the Kings stopped talking 3 weeks ago to only start talking recently. And I always say this as well, like we also have to give it at least a couple of days window. Like James Ham reports it today. I don't know if that means like this morning Harrison Barnes got a phone call and somebody immediately got a hold of James and was like, now they're talking. It could be, the last few days, the last week. We don't know.
Maybe they were on a break. You know what I mean? They just needed a little time.
So here's a question I have for you, Ramie. Did the NBA screw over Sacramento? I asked that because we found out today that
we have a 2-minute report.
No,
we need to.
No.
Oh, okay.
No doubt about it. Wemby is not going to be playing at the G1C. He's not going to take part in the Cali Classic. Victor Wembanyama is going to sit out the Cali Classic, but he is going to play in Vegas. And I know that Adam Silver came out a week or two ago and said, oh, we love the Cali Classic. You want to have Summer League? We're all about Summer League. I love it.
More basketball.
We wouldn't get in the way of people playing in Sacramento, but there is a slice of me, the conspiracy theorist, hot take guy, comes out when I see this, and I wondered, did the league lean on the Spurs in Wembanyama to not play in the Cali Classic so he could play in the Vegas Summer League?
I don't know. I mean, he has played a lot of basketball. Like
he has.
Their season just
but
ended.
It's like a week's difference.
I understand.
It's literally like 4 days difference.
I get it, but I don't know. I don't know what's behind this. I know it sucks. I was thinking about going to the Cali Classic on what is it? Monday the 5th?
Monday is the 3rd.
No,
Wednesday
Monday
is the
3rd. Yeah.
Okay, they were gonna have games on the 5th, right? And we were
yes.
Were we off that
3rd
day?
and 5th?
Yeah, so
we
I
were
was
off on the 3rd.
I was thinking about going on the 3rd then, whatever day that we were off. I don't think I'm gonna go check it out.
Yeah, Monday the 3rd.
That would be the draw for me.
Yeah, I'm out.
Outside of that, I think I'm
out.
Pretty much out.
I was hoping to see Wembanyama.
I don't know. I don't know if there's necessarily a conspiracy behind it. You think so?
Today I do, just to feed the flames.
Okay.
Yes, the NBA is against
Fair
you,
enough.
Sacramento. They clearly want Wembanyama to play in Vegas. They don't want him to play here in Sacramento. Hate on the league. Hate on Adam Silver. Meanwhile, in the NBA, Cattles and Ramie here on a Wednesday. We got a Kyrie Irving update. Here's Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN with the latest.
The market for Kyrie Irving, legitimate places that he would leave Dallas for that makes sense, that are available to him, it's extremely limited, perhaps almost nil. I think the full expectation is that he returns in Dallas. The question will be, what kind of a deal does he go back on? How many years on a contract? I don't think the money will be as much of an issue as how many fully guaranteed years are there for Kyrie Irving. I think that's where the negotiation is going to be between he and the Mavericks. But if he wants to maximize his money on this deal, the place to do that is in Dallas.
I'm shocked Kyrie doesn't have a huge market. I can't believe it. I am knocked me over with a feather with this story. I can't believe that Houston, San Antonio, and the Kings are not interested in paying Kyrie Irving $30+ million a year.
It really is. It's pretty insane when you think about it, what Kyrie Irving has done to his value, because Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, if all the other BS aside, he would be his market would be off the charts right now, Nick. A guy with that type of talent hitting the market,
incredible offensive talent,
would have half the league chasing after him. In most cases, he has totally tanked any demand for him. But the thing I'm wondering is, if you're Dallas and you know there isn't really a market for him, why are you paying top dollar exactly? Why not tell this guy, you know what, go see what's out there, and then let's talk? Why would you give him a max contract when, I mean, I'm not a business expert, but the laws of supply and demand, there doesn't seem to be that much demand for the world's supply of Kyrie Irving right now. I mean?
The only thing I could think is that they're concerned that if they don't put that kind of money on the table, that it's gonna get Kyrie off to a bad start in year 2 for them. Like if he feels like he's cornered and he's got to take less than he thinks he's worth, then again, you've got the Kyrie drama and he thinks he's been quote unquote disrespected. You also have no idea about Kyrie. Like, Kyrie is such a different dude. He might turn around and go, you know what? I'll take a lot less to go somewhere else because you guys just disrespected me. Like, maybe they're just concerned about the ticking time bomb that Kyrie's been, but he's 31 years old. And if he signs a 2 or 3 year deal, this is pretty much it for him when it comes to big money contracts. Mm-hmm. So I would have to imagine he's thinking short term. I don't know what Dallas is thinking. You keep an eye on LA. LA reportedly wants to re-sign D'Angelo Russell. Keep an eye on how long that contract is, because if D'Angelo Russell signs like a 1 year deal and Kyrie signs a 1 year deal, we're going to go through the whole LA Kyrie thing again by the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So be ready for that. Be ready for that. And the jury's still out to me about Kyrie and Luka. Can it work as a partnership? And I think signing Kyrie, especially if it's long term. I think signing Kyrie, it's a risk, because if things go bad, things blow up, you might lose Luka, because all of those rumors have been going around for the last couple of years that Luka's looking at LA and Miami and some of these other markets. So it is a risky deal, but when Dallas made that trade, they pretty much committed to Kyrie. You're not going to make the trade they made last year and then not re-sign him.
Yeah, they're almost in too deep to risk it now.
They're both stuck with each other.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the truth. All right, we'll continue with your Kings reaction. Also, the NFL's gambling problem is about to explode. We'll tell you why next.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for all your favorite models at low prices and payments. Plus, during the Kia Summer Sales event, get low finance rates and even zero down deals with approved credit. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia right here in Sacramento for over 20 years.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical pool, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
Are you ready for an incredible pre-owned blowout this 4th of July? Elk Grove Kia has got you covered with over 300 used cars, SUVs, vans, and trucks available. Every single one of our vehicles has gone through an extensive 150-point inspection, so you can buy with complete confidence. We stand by our cars and offer a bring-it-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, simply return it. Worried about your credit? Don't be. At Elk Grove Kia, we have 100 years of combined experience in helping our customers get the best financing options available. Charge-offs, repossessions, foreclosures, bankruptcies, no problem. Our team specializes in finding solutions for every credit situation. But before you even step foot in our dealership, let us show you what we can do for you. Give us a call or visit our website, and our dedicated team will work with you to find the perfect vehicle and the best financing option. This 4th of July, Elk Grove Kia is your destination for incredible pre-owned deals. Visit us today at Elk Grove Kia or check us out online at elkgrovekia.com.
Turn your highway into a smile way. Elk Grove Kia.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, apixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sactown Sports
Headlines. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Antonio Spurs announced Wednesday that French phenom Victor Wembanyama will not be joining the team in Sacramento for the California Classic, but he will join the team in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League Showcase. If you are like Wemby and won't be in the building July 3rd and 5th for the Classic, you can always tap in at SactownSports.com. A handful of NFL players are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week after allegedly violating the NFL's policy on gambling, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers joins a growing list of subjects implicated in prohibited gambling acts according to league guidelines. The NFL plans to reinforce and clarify its gambling policy to players and personnel amid the rapid proliferation of sports betting. I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Welcome back into Cattles and Ramie.
With you 1 mile at a time during the afternoon drive. Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
We'll get back to the Kings in a few minutes. We got Chris Biederman joining us at 3 o'clock as well to talk Kings. NBA edition of Big Deal or No Big Deal coming up in about 10 minutes. But wanted to slide in some football here because this is a big story. And this story, I think, is going to explode within the next couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Friday news dump, late Friday afternoon from the NFL. So Adam Schefter has a report today, and I want to go back several weeks ago because several weeks ago, Colts cornerback, kick returner Isaiah Rodgers was in the news. And the report was that Rodgers was gambling, and it was pretty pervasive, and that Rodgers was going to get a full season suspension from the league. And at the time, there were other reports saying that the NFL, I think it was Burt Breer who came out and said, the NFL is going to go full throttle with this investigation, and they're looking around the league to see how pervasive the problem is across the league. Mm-hmm. And so when we heard that and read that and saw that, it made us wonder, what news was about to come across and how bad of an issue is this? How bad of an issue is this gambling within the league? And there's been some confusion about how much have players been told. Has the NFL done a good enough job of explaining the gambling protocols? Here's Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio on that.
Common sense is getting thrown around a lot as it relates to the gambling policy. Why do we need to educate the players? It's commonsensical. Well, you know what? It really isn't commonsensical because common sense, when you look at what's happening in the NFL right now, would suggest, hey, we should be allowed to gamble. The NFL is making millions off of gambling sponsorships. The owners have stake in the sports books. There are a bunch of mixed messages and hypocrisies that the NFL needs to cut through and make it clear to the players what they can and can't do.
Now, I think it's pretty simple. How about this? Just don't gamble in any way. You're in the NFL. If you're in the NFL for 5 years, you're very fortunate. If you're in the NFL for 3 years, you're lucky. How about just put away the gambling while you're playing in the NFL? Like, this isn't difficult. People trying to lay this on the league and saying, well, they haven't been particular or specific enough. Give me a break. Just don't gamble. If you have friends who are gambling, don't have them gamble on your accord. Like, the guys that are gambling and getting caught, it's because they're gambling. Calvin Ridley's been the only dude that's come out and was 100% transparent, said, I screwed up, I gambled, I was an idiot, I'm not going to do it again. So now, on the heels of all this, Adam Schefter has this report today that a handful of NFL players, including the aforementioned Rodgers, are expected to receive season-long suspensions for allegedly gambling. So now, Ramie, we have a handful of NFL players who are going to get 1-year suspensions from the league.
And Nick, I agree with you when you talk about the personal choice and responsibility that these guys have, and the fact that they're putting themselves in these sticky situations and getting themselves in trouble. But don't get it twisted. It's a bad look for the NFL when they have to suspend these guys. You know what I mean? And every time one of these stories bubbles up and surfaces, and this won't be the last of it, because it's not a simple system that they have. I said weeks ago, Nick, sort of looking at it from the other side, just have a zero tolerance policy, period. Like, don't even give basically the same thing you're saying, but you're saying these guys have the choice, the option to gamble. Don't do it. I'm saying don't even give them the option with this complicated list of rules of what you can and can't gamble on, when you can gamble, where you can gamble from. Just say while you're playing in the NFL, you are not allowed to gamble on professional sports, and make it simple, because this stuff is going to keep happening, and it's a bad look for the league. Like, it's bad for these players, yes, and it's in their best interest, their self-interest, to not put themselves in that situation. But when these stories come up, it's a bad look for the league.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And they could make it real easy for everybody and just say zero tolerance policy on gambling.
There's no doubt this is terrible for the league. There's just no doubt about that. They always talk about the integrity of the league. Well, you cannot put a spear through the integrity of the league any more quicker and more harsh than having a handful of guys who are gambling so badly they're going to get popped for a full year. So this does absolutely hurt the NFL to a certain point. People are still going to watch, but it's not great for the reputation. It's a bigger problem than we know. And it's going to be a bigger problem than is reported on. It's going to be a much bigger problem than the NFL is going to let us know it is. This is a big problem. When you've got a handful of guys who are going to get 1-year suspensions due to gambling, that's an issue. That's a big issue. Now, I wonder what names we're going to see. And I said this back when the Rodgers thing was reported on. Is the NFL shield going to protect their stars and superstars? Now, Calvin Ridley, he was a young star, you could argue, and he got in some big-time trouble.
Yeah, he did.
But if this was Patrick Mahomes, does he get the 1-year suspension? I don't know. If it's Josh Allen, if it's any top quarterback, do they get a full year? Or does the NFL skirt a couple things and protect their brightest and best? I don't know the answer to that. But it absolutely has to be discussed of, what level of superstar is the NFL willing to put out there on Front Street and say, you can't do this, 1-year suspension. We'll see if one of these 5 guys that's going to be named, we'll see if there's a star or superstar among them.
Just what justified or not, and not to open up any old wounds for you, Boston Nick, but they didn't hesitate to go after Tom Brady and the Patriots when they were sort of the face of this league during Deflategate and all that. Now, whether they should have or not, and I know you and others have thoughts on that, and whether that whole thing was warranted or as serious as they made it out to be, they certainly felt it was and didn't back off because it was the face of the league with Tom Brady.
But under that situation, that was the ownership throughout the league that had built up an anger and a furor towards the Patriots organization to the point where Goodell, I think, felt like he had to do something. And so he overreacted in a major way. But that was because ownership was putting heat on Goodell to do something. So I don't know if ownership is going after Goodell to do something with this, because there are the relationships. These stadiums around the league, they're going to be having sports books on site. It's very, very murky from the NFL standpoint. But if you're a player, you just got to stay away, man. Like it's and look, people have problems all the time. Maybe we're just talking about gamblers that have problems. And if they weren't NFL players, they'd be gambling anyway, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days a week. Maybe we got a handful of guys who just have a serious problem. But if you're playing in the league, you just got to stay away from it. Stay away from it for a few years.
And if I'm the league, I'm just telling these guys just that.
Go play blackjack.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Play some 3-card poker. You don't have to bet on football games and sports. Stay away from that for a few years while you rake in money. 916-339-1140 is the text line. The phone number is 1-800-920-1140. Don't forget, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140. An NBA offseason edition of Big Deal or No Big Deals coming up.
Need your Niners fix? Sactown Sports has you covered.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Trey looks significantly better than he did last year. I really do. I think his confidence is there. I think that he's throwing really good passes. I mean, just watching him, he just looks so much more comfortable and confident in the pocket, and I really appreciate that from him, from all the work that he's put into it. He just looks like he's having fun, because when he's out there having a good time, it definitely brings up everyone around him.
Get all your 49ers coverage leading into the 2023 season at Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet, a Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Finally, the 4th of July sales event is here. Chad, what's going on at Hoblet?
Right now, you can lease a new 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe for only $379 a month for 36 months with $49.95 due at signing. That's a savings of up to $13,500, or you can save up to $92.50 off MSRP, plus get $37.50 in federal tax credits for a total savings of over $13,000.
So whether I lease or buy the new 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe, I can save up to $13,000 or more?
Yeah, and now the only decision is which one you want, because we have a great selection of Wrangler 4xes with over 50 available.
Hey, find your perfect vehicle now when you search, select, and save at HobletDodge.com.
$13,500 in total net savings after $11,000 factory rebates and $2,500 dealer discount. Rebates include $7,500 federal tax credit, $3,000 CARB rebate, and $500 California bonus cash. Must be California resident qualified. 36 monthly term, $49.95 cash due at signing, plus tax, license, accessories on approved credit through Chrysler Capital. 25 cents per mile charge of over 10,000 miles per year. $92.50 total net savings after $57.50 factory rebates and $4,000 dealer discount. Plus optional $37.50 tax credit may apply for buyers who meet current federal tax standards only. Subject to change. See your CPA for qualifications. For California residents only. 5 net savings. See dealer for details.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air in a public place in front of your kids and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using Stem mosquito repellent is the right way. Stem effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
It's the 4th of July sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos, in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
Sacramento Kings basketball is back this summer. Catch 6 games of NBA action and fun for the whole family when the California Classic Summer League returns on July 3rd and 5th. The Kings will host the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, and newly added San Antonio Spurs and Charlotte Hornets with the number 1 and number 2 NBA draft picks. 2-day passes start at just $42 and include access to all 6 games. Visit kings.com/California Classic for more information and to buy your tickets today.
How big is it? No matter what, national pundits would tell you it's huge. Now it's our turn to tell you.
Big deal or no big deal?
On Cattles and Ramie.
Yes, big deal or no big deal. I should have got Wheel of Fortune, by the way. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, Ryan Seacrest.
Why you?
I'm entertaining.
I'm telling you, man, you don't need to be that entertained. That's not one of the game shows where you need.
I have a good voice.
I'll give you that.
I can read cards and prompters.
How do you feel about the looks?
Not great.
Okay.
Yeah, solid 6 or so. I'm not an. What would you say your Seacrest is, an 8?
Is Sajak a good-looking man?
No, but again, he was entrenched.
So if
It's
you've seen
the grandfather rule.
if you've seen Sajak in 1982, he was a good-looking man.
Was he? Okay.
He was a strapping young lad back in '82.
I really don't think Wheel of Fortune, since we're on this, had to go and spend Seacrest money.
See, here's the problem. We're
They
not
could've
necessarily on this. We're just mentioning it. But as soon as I mention it, Ramie's like, we're on this.
Seacrest has also had a lot of work done to his face, allegedly.
Who cares?
So has Sajak,
Whatever
I'm
he's got
sure.
to do. Whatever you got to do to keep it up.
Now, look, I'm average. I mean, maybe some ladies find me better than average.
I've said this before. Like when it comes to dudes, 8 through 10s, I recognize very handsome man.
Hopefully, Kelly thinks I'm a little above average.
1 through 3s, I recognize. Like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
4s through 7s, they all look the same to me.
Just you're in the mix. You just
they're all just a blur.
Just in the mix.
Yeah, they all. This is my second cup of coffee of the day. Trying to cut back from 5 to 3.
All right, let's get to big deal, no big deal.
I don't know what we just got onto here.
NBA free agency edition, summer edition.
So good. Just really, really good. Fresh. It's hot. Smells so good.
Ramie, let's start with the Milwaukee Bucks. Your Bucks.
Yes, sir.
Are in the news today. Mark Stein reports via his Substack that Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, and Jay Crowder are all likely coming back to Milwaukee. Is this a big deal or no big deal?
Pretty big deal that they're going to run it back with a new head coach. I'm going to say big deal. I thought there might be some shakeup there, Nick. The one that really surprises me, I knew that they wanted Middleton back. I knew that they want Brook Lopez back. Jay Crowder they got him at the trade deadline, and all he did was whine about his role throughout the playoffs and wondering why they brought him there. I don't know why you're running it back with Jay Crowder. The first two don't necessarily surprise me. I'm just wondering what's going to be different about the Bucks that came up short and fell victim to the 8th-seeded Miami Heat in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this is a big deal. First, you got Giannis's future. We've talked about that. There's some feeling that if the Bucks do not continue to compete at a high level, Giannis is more than ready to slide out that back door. And so keep the guy happy. Keep Giannis happy. That's priority number one for anybody in that Milwaukee organization. But I do find it interesting, and the reason why I think it's a big deal as well, Ramie, is what you just brought up. They're going to double down on this roster. Is that the right call? Is this the right call? If you're Milwaukee, to double down in the name of Giannis, maybe you're just doing it because you want to and have to keep Giannis happy, so that's why this is going to happen. But I don't know. Brook Lopez is 34? Crowder is close to aging out of the league.
Middleton's 32 with wrist problems.
He might have a year or two left, Crowder. And then as Kyle just mentioned, Middleton, he's in his 30s now. He's had knee issues. He's got wrist issues. How much money are you spending? I think it's also more about the term than it is the money. How long-term are these guys the plan? Are you signing Lopez to like a 4-year deal or is it a 2-year deal? Are you trying to keep this short? But it's a fascinating decision by the Bucks because what they're telling us, Ramie, with this move too is it was all Mike Budenholzer's fault.
Basically.
They're going to run it back. You can't fire the team is the old adage, right?
Yep.
Just fire the coach. So it's also a big deal because we will not have a Ramie celebration on Friday when Brook Lopez signs with the Kings because that's what Ramie was hoping for to celebrate.
Won't be hearing that.
Get a little bit outrageous. That ain't going to be happening on Friday, at least not in the name of Brook Lopez. All right, second one here. Jake Fisher. I told you yesterday, this guy is just pumping out the intel. Yes. He had another long report today.
He's on it.
If you're on Twitter, follow Jake Fisher. I don't know him personally. I don't get a cut when I mention him on the show.
You're Jake Fisher's hype man all of a sudden.
Maybe I should try. Maybe Jake Fisher's Flavor Flav. But Fisher, again, pumped out more intel today. He had a huge report yesterday with a bunch of Kings nuggets. He was back at it today. And Ramie Fisher, part of that report, says that the Houston Rockets are about to go all in on Fred VanVleet. They want to back up the Brinks truck. They're talking $40 million at least per year for Fred VanVleet. Your thoughts on Houston and that possible connection?
That's a big deal and a terrible deal for Houston or whoever, because if it's not Houston, Nick, if he's not right about the team, somebody's going to drop that kind of money on Fred VanVleet. And I'm telling you, he's not worth it. And somebody's going to overpay for this guy to not get them where they think that he's going to get them. It's a big deal and a bad deal for the Houston Rockets to pay Fred VanVleet that much money.
I think this is a big deal from the Kings' perspective. Houston is number one in cap space. They got $60+ million in cap space. If you are theoretically battling Houston for a free agent, you want them to dump $45 million into Fred VanVleet. Give him all the money. As much as you could possibly give Fred VanVleet.
Give him 45.
Give it to him. Give it to him. So I think for the Kings, this is good news. Because if they're going to go hunting after Fred VanVleet this aggressively, it tells me they might not have much success with other players they're looking at. And I saw Jill Adge tweet today. Saw Jill Adge tweet earlier today. It was a great point. So Houston's going to be the Sacramento Kings and these other teams that they're going to be used. And it's what I said yesterday about maybe Kyle Kuzma and Draymond Green leaking out the Kings name because the Kings have a lot of cap space. The Kings don't necessarily even have to be interested in either of those guys. But if those camps leak out that the Kings are interested, then it drives other teams to maybe up their offers. Houston is going to be used by these players. Fred VanVleet, I would imagine, would rather stay in Toronto than go to Houston. Don't forget, Texas, the taxes add a lot of money to these deals as well. But I would imagine that VanVleet would rather be in Toronto than Houston. So maybe VanVleet is using Houston as the leverage in this situation. Also keep an eye, as I mentioned with Brook Lopez and others, get ready. I would not be surprised that Friday we see a lot of short-term deals. Get ready for a lot of 2-year deals. This new CBA, teams are not going to want to be tied to money for 4 years. They're just 3-4-year deals are not going to be the thing. You're going to see a lot of 2-year deals. I would not be surprised if VanVleet gets like a 2-year, $80 to $90 million deal from Houston. Oof. So Houston pays all the money in 2 years. Fred VanVleet gets the bag in Texas, and then Houston can pivot within the next couple of years.
You're right, though. If they spend that kind of money on VanVleet, it does take them out of the market for some guys that folks thought the Kings might be competing with them for. So that would be a good thing for the Kings if you gave Fred VanVleet $45 million or whatever it's going to be.
Show me the money!
Keep an eye on the short-term precedent with this new CBA. I think that's going to be set this Friday. You'll see a lot of that. Finally, we have some Darius Garland conflicting reports. We have some reports saying that he is on the block, he's available. Brian Windhorst came out today and said that Garland is not available. Donovan Mitchell is not available. Darius Garland, his availability, big deal or no big deal?
That's a big deal. If he's available, that's a big deal. That's an all-star level guard who might be on the free agent market. I don't buy it, Nick. I don't know why you would put a guy that young and that good on the trade market. And the report was that they weren't shopping him, but that they were receptive when teams were calling and asking about him. I don't know what that means, because a lot of GMs would listen to an offer for anybody. You know what I mean? Short of LeBron James or Luka, they'd listen to an offer for just about anybody in the league. So I don't know how much stock to put in it, but if he is available, yeah, that's a big deal. Guys that young and that talented don't come available all that often on the trade market.
Big deal.
I'm making a call.
Target for the Kings.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe.
It's a great idea.
You've got the money. Garland can play off ball with Fox. Not saying it's going to happen.
Not a bad fit.
I think when we talk about younger guys, younger talent, I mentioned this yesterday, it wouldn't shock me if the Kings brought back Harrison Barnes and tried to upgrade Herter. That's an option. Not telling you it's what they want to do or what they plan to do as plan A, but it has to be talked about. Every front office goes through all the options. And if you can't find, if you don't want to overpay somebody like Kyle Kuzma or Draymond Green, you bring back HB and maybe you look to upgrade at another spot, which has to be Herter. You're not upgrading from Fox. I don't think you're moving on from Keegan unless you get a superstar in return. Domas is going nowhere. So if you brought back Harrison, you're left with one guy to replace in that starting lineup if you want to upgrade your team, and that guy is Kevin Herter.
Yeah.
So I think we can keep an eye on that. And the Cavaliers are just an interesting team.
They don't mind shaking it up, man.
You know, the regular season, they were fantastic. I thought they were going to make a pretty good run in the postseason. And as we know, that did not happen. They lost to the Knicks. But Donovan Mitchell was awful in that series.
Garland was too,
Yeah,
which is
Garland wasn't great. Garland wasn't great. But Mitchell, I mean, Mitchell's the guy that you expect. He's supposed to be the guy. And he was really bad. All right, remind you that all guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We got a lot to get through today. Chris Biederman, our friend, will join us to discuss what the Kings do or should do, could do next.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track, makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Attention contractors and DIY enthusiasts. Don't miss the ultimate DeWalt sale event at Fasteners Tool Outlet in Sacramento next Saturday, July 8th. Unbeatable prices on DeWalt power tools and one-day-only deals with free batteries and tools. Grab a 4-piece brushless combo kit for $299 and save up to 50% on select hand tools and accessories. Again, that's July 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain-free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The universal truth of women's shoes. The cuter they are, the more they hurt.
You have to put your best foot forward, and if your best foot is an ugly shoe, oh my goodness.
Lise Ann thought she had to choose between looking good and feeling good until she got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now I can wear the shoes that I've picked out because I like the way they look, not because they were comfortable.
Good Feet relieved her pain and her fashion dilemma. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
The PGA fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Are you ready for the ultimate 4th of July celebration? Get ready to kick off the summer in style with the hottest deals in town at Elk Grove Kia. For those looking to go green, we have the award-winning all-electric Kia EV6. With its sleek design and zero emissions, it's the future of driving. Lease the EV6 for just $489 per month and experience the thrill of electric power. But wait, we've got something even bigger for you. The Kia Telluride, the hottest SUV on the market, is here with prices so low we can't even advertise. We have 11 Tellurides available for immediate delivery. These deals are the best we've had in over 3 years, so hurry in for the best selection. Our general manager guarantees that if there's a car, SUV, or truck you're willing to take the keys for, we'll find a way to fit your budget at Elk Grove Kia today. Don't buy until you check us out at elkgrovekia.com.
2023 Kia EV6 with 36-month lease, $51.50 customer cash due with signing, residual $29,849.70 based on 10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, zero security deposit required. Kia Finance Tier 1 FICO score 740 plus, subject to lender approval. One of this payment, GK 86091043777, expires 7/5/2023.
Elk Grove Kia.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Antonio Spurs announced Wednesday that French phenom Victor Wembanyama will not be joining the team in Sacramento for the California Classic, but he will join the team in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League Showcase. If you are like Wemby and won't be in the building July 3rd and 5th for the Classic, you can always tap in at SactownSports.com. A handful of NFL players are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week after allegedly violating the NFL's policy on gambling, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers joins a growing list of subjects implicated in prohibited gambling acts according to league guidelines. The NFL plans to reinforce and clarify its gambling policy to players and personnel amid the rapid proliferation of sports betting. I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Please welcome in Chris Biederman of the Sacramento Bee to Cattles and Ramie.
Cattles and Ramie.
Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
All right, let's jump to the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda one-stop Honda shop. Joining us right now is Chris Biederman from the Sacramento Bee. You can check him out there. You can also check him out on the YouTube. Chris is right on our YouTube page, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140. And talk some Kings with Chris as we get ready for NBA free agency starting on Friday. Chris, let's start here. Should we be prepared? Are you prepared for a big swing by the Kings on Friday?
Prepared for anything. If you're in this business of sports media, you gotta be prepared for anything. I think it sounds like, and I know other people are reporting this, that the Harrison Barnes thing is gaining steam, and so I guess that wouldn't really surprise me, given how much adoration Mike Brown showed for Harrison Barnes last year, calling him really irreplaceable at various points throughout last season. But the Kings cleared up all that cap space for a reason, I would think. So we'll have to see. But if they did bring back Harrison Barnes and signed Domantas Sabonis to an extension, I think that would certainly make sense. I also think there would certainly be questions about, are the Kings getting substantially better if that's the way they spend their resources this offseason. So I'm kind of ready for everything. I think the Kings are a really interesting team, given that they were the 3 seed, given that they did open up a bunch of cap space and could potentially get better. Whether or not they're a free agent destination, so to speak, remains to be seen. But they are a team that I think has a chance to make a substantial leap if they can acquire some pieces. But we'll have to see if they're able to do it.
There's been plenty of speculation via, reading the tea leaves or connecting the dots that, and a couple of them have even said that executives around the league don't think that Monte McNair makes the move he made on draft night to free up all that money unless he has something or someone in mind. Do you agree with that line of thinking that was made with a specific, we've heard Draymond, we've heard Kuzma, but with a specific player or plan in mind when they freed up that money on draft night?
I'm not entirely sure because I think it's fair to say Rashawn Holmes in his contract, $12 million a year for a guy who's out of your rotation, getting him off the books is prudent, sort of no matter what your long-term plan is. So if you're going to have a guy on your bench who's making $12 million, who you're just not going to play and who doesn't fit the style of play that your new coaching staff is implementing, then it absolutely makes sense to try to move off of him and clear up space. I think what McNair ultimately, and I don't know this, the Kings are very, very tight-lipped, but I would say ultimately what McNair wanted was flexibility, and whether that's having a seat at the table when it comes to free agent negotiations with some of these guys, and just having the flexibility to make a pretty drastic move if one were to present itself, right? Like if somehow Cam Johnson sign and trade from Brooklyn becomes available, then the Kings do have the cap space and the trade exception to make something like that work potentially. So I don't know that there was necessarily one guy that they were targeting. I know a lot of people have been talking about Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green does make a lot of sense for the Kings on a few different levels, but also given what his price could be, I just have a hard time seeing the Kings making him one of their, 2 or 3 highest paid guys. I think certainly Vivek would love to stick a knife in the Warriors if he could. But I also, I think Monty McNair wants to be more prudent and probably looks at Game 7 and say, when our jump shooting really stagnated in the second half of Game 7, we probably could have used another scorer. And I don't know that Draymond Green necessarily helps them in that area as much as he would obviously on defense. So, I think, I even forget what your question is. I'm rambling so much, but I think I think the Kings just wanted to be flexible. And just, you have to be ready to pounce. Like say the Clippers decide, and I don't think this is necessarily going to happen, but say the Clippers decide, hey, we're going to make Paul George available. Well, if the Kings didn't have that cap space, they wouldn't even have a seat at that table. They wouldn't even be able to pick up the phone. So at least with that cap space, they do have some flexibility. And if something were to become available that was unforeseen, they would at least be able to adjust and react instead of not being able to do anything at all.
Chris Biederman is with us. Chris, we're going to talk about a story, Ramie and I, in a little while from ESPN, where multiple insiders say that the Kings need to make a big splash. Do you agree with that? Do you think this team needs to make a big splash, or bring back HB and maybe adding another piece would be enough?
I don't know that there's necessary, like, is Kyle Kuzma a big splash? Is Cam Johnson a big splash? I think that's sort of up for interpretation. I think the Kings probably need to make a move of that ilk to get better. I think everything, this is just my opinion, but when it comes to their offseason goals, we need to be better in the playoffs. And I think you can look at the rest of the West. The West was pretty bad last year. A lot of teams had bad seasons relative to their expectations. And I don't know that the Kings can necessarily bank on, the Suns are going to get better. The Warriors are probably going to get better than they were last year. The Clippers, if they have any semblance of health and continuity, they're going to be much better than they were last year. So I think, and Mike Brown said this a lot, like the easy part is to go from bad to good. The really hard part is to go from good to great. And given that the West is probably going to be better last year, given the Kings are going to come into this upcoming season with far more expectations, given that they are probably going to not sneak up on anybody next year, I think it's going to be a much tougher road upcoming for them, given all of those factors. And so if their roster isn't appreciably better, getting the 3 seed might be a lot more difficult. And so when it comes to being in the playoffs, obviously, Harrison Barnes was not great for the Kings in the playoffs. He was really good during the regular season at times. He provided a lot of professionalism and veteran leadership behind the scenes, and the fact he played in all 82 games is certainly commendable, particularly in today's NBA. But if they're in a Game 7 situation against a championship caliber team, you can't look at them if they bring the same group back and say, no, they're more equipped to win that game this year. I think it would make sense for them to try to upgrade that spot. And frankly, I think if they use that cap space to just bring Harrison Barnes back and extend Domantas Sabonis a year before they necessarily need to, I don't know that that's necessarily disappointing given how successful last year was, but I think if you're trying to make the team better, you probably want to try finding another explosive scorer who could potentially get you 25 points in a playoff game. And we didn't see that from Harrison Barnes in the playoff series last year.
You led me right into my next question, Chris, which was, do you think we are going to see a Domas extension this offseason? Is that something that's in the works?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Again, the Kings have been very tight-lipped. No one's saying much of anything. But it wouldn't surprise me at all. Domas Sabonis is a super important player for them. He helped change the culture. He helped unlock De'Aaron Fox. He helps, Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter with his passing and his screening. He's absolutely key to what they do. But I would say, he probably wasn't great in the playoff series against the Warriors. And I know he got stomped on by Draymond Green, and that's certainly part of it. But he said in his exit interview after the season that he needs to be able to shoot with more confidence from the mid-range. And maybe that has to do with his thumb injury that he's going to be coming back from. But the Warriors were daring him to shoot. And ultimately Sabonis didn't really make them pay in a way that somebody like, Nikola Jokic would, right? So, and obviously Jokic MVP champion, it's unfair to put Domas at that standard. But when you're talking about maxing him out and giving him a substantial raise over the next 4 or 5 years, you can't have that guy be the player that other teams are not defending along the perimeter, just begging him to shoot, in my opinion, right? I think you need that guy to be able to hit those shots and to not be a liability offensively in the biggest moments of the season. And you can make a pretty strong case that Sabonis wasn't good enough for the Kings, particularly in Game 7 of the playoff series last year. So I think he absolutely deserves another contract. I don't know, if I'm running the team, I don't know if I'm giving him the full max, if I'm giving him $45 million a year, particularly given how the playoff series against the Warriors went. But he's an all-NBA player. He changed the culture with the Kings, and that's certainly commendable and certainly deserves its reward. Just what that reward is, I guess, remains to be seen. But no, it wouldn't surprise me if they did extend him and have some long-term clarity on his future contract status going forward.
Chris, great stuff as usual. We appreciate your time. Hopefully we have a very busy and fun Friday to talk about. Chris Biederman from the Sacramento Bee. We'll talk to you soon, bud. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you. There goes Chris Biederman. Again, he was on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. And I did some math in the lab last night.
Oh.
And later on in the show, not right now, but later on, I am going to describe how I felt like I climbed Mount Everest last night over some
Are the windows in the Cattles household just riddled with mathematical equations that you did with – wow.
Yes. It was outrageous. Later this hour, we'll get into it a little bit about the Domas options and how I finally figured out what the hell they are. We'll get to that. But again, thanks to Chris Biederman for joining us. Great as always. In 90 seconds, is a young superstar on the Kings' radar?
Sactown Sports is your source for the 49ers.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
Did that leave a bitter taste in your mouth?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Me and Cal had a long meeting the other day. We watched tape. We talked about it. We put it behind us. And just going through the tape and just look how sluggish and how bad it looked on tape. Like I said, just reflecting on last offseason, it kind of played a big role in that. And I'll never put nothing like that back on tape again.
Tune into Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest 49ers offseason developments.
What's going on? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. 4th of July sales event is finally here. Chad, tell me what's going on at Hoblet.
Well, for a very short time, we're offering the biggest savings so far in 2023 with up to $12,000 off MSRP on new 2023 Ram 1500 Laramie, Longhorn, and limited crew cabs. That means you can get one of the most luxurious and popular trucks on the road starting at only $49,995. Plus, Hoblet is California's #1 Ram truck dealer, so you can take advantage of our huge selection with over 500 trucks available, including those hard-to-find heavy-duty trucks.
Okay, but what makes Hoblet better than the dealer down the street?
We have no surprise fees, add-ons, or dealer markups, just savings. One of the many reasons we received the Walter P. Chrysler Award for outstanding customer service for 3 years in a row now. Plus, with Hoblet's Peace of Mind guarantee, you can buy with confidence.
Stop by their Hoblet Ram Truck Center for a test drive today or search, select, and save through the whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Best prices, best selection, period.
$12,000 total net savings after $8,000 factory rebates and $4,000 dealer discount. 10 at this net savings. Simple VIN 549186. Must be California resident. Qualify. See dealer for details.
Live and local in the afternoon.
They always keep you on edge.
Cattles
and Ramie
on Sactown Sports.
Just saw a tweet that instantly made me angry.
Oh, no.
Love when that happens.
Did you sleep last night?
I did. I did.
Okay, good.
I think I got a good, solid 7.5 hours.
Cranky yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Nicky didn't get his sweetie.
All right.
You know?
So, Mike Singer of the Denver Post tweeted out a few moments ago. Bruce Brown.
Uh-huh.
One team with significant interest in signing Bruce Brown away from Denver is the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers could offer him the
That
full...
dramatic pause, Nick, made me think it was the Kings.
No, I wouldn't be angry at that.
That is true, yeah.
The Lakers could offer him the full mid-level. I will be so angry if Bruce Brown ends up a Laker. He's one of my favorite role/rotation players in the NBA.
Yeah, he's fun to watch.
If he ends up a Laker, it's going to be insufferable.
If anybody, I mean, anytime a good player ends up a Laker, it's pretty insufferable, right? You know, did you see the day after the draft? I don't remember who it was, but it instantly made me angry. There was some tweet about all the great centers that have played for the Los Angeles Lakers and had Victor Wembanyama photoshopped in a Lakers jersey. Like the day after he was drafted by San Antonio.
Lakers fans already ready.
People were putting him in a Lakers jersey.
So stupid. Just so stupid.
I hate you.
Lakers fans been doing that for 15 years. When did Photoshop get invented? Lakers fans have been photoshopping jerseys.
Look, a man got to make his money. But Bruce, please don't go to LA. Please don't. Please, Bruce. Don't go to the Lakers. Hopefully that's Bruce's agents working overtime to try to drive up the price somewhere else. Hopefully they're trying to get above the full mid-level, and by leaking the Lakers, they think that the team might react. Maybe that team, Ramie, is the Sacramento Kings. Maybe, just maybe. They've got the money. The most. The most money that Brown can make from the Nuggets is $7.8 million this year.
He would be a good fit for the Kings.
If you're going 2 for 1, Bruce Brown is near the tops of my list as one of two guys.
Bringing back HB and bringing in Bruce Brown, that do it for you?
Makes them better. I don't know how much better. I mean, Bruce Brown obviously is an immediate upgrade, and HB is HB, so it makes you a little better. But I love Bruce Brown. He's one of my favorites. And maybe Monty's looking at somebody like Bruce Brown and saying, we're better off going with 2 guys instead of 1. I'm not going to pay $28 million.
I don't hate that idea.
For, Kyle Kuzma. I'm going to split this thing up. I'm going to bring back HB, or I'm going to go out and get Bruce Brown and then somebody else. We'll see.
We shall see.
Or maybe, just maybe, Ramie. Monty's looking at a bigger fish. Don't overlook possible trades. We've said this. With the new cap space that was created via the Rashawn Holmes trade last week during the draft, the Kings have a bunch of cap space. And if you want to say to yourself, well, Nick, why don't they just do both things? Why don't they bring back Harrison Barnes via free agency on a reasonable deal and then trade for a big name? Maybe.
What do you got in mind, Nick?
So I was reading our guy Jake Fisher today.
What are you getting at here?
And Fisher wrote about the Chicago Bulls. And Fisher writes, the bigger questions in Chicago come down to the Bulls' perceived big 3 of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic. Now, I remind people, Vucevic just signed, or he at least has agreed to a 3-year extension.
No, the Bulls, actually, I just saw a tweet come across my timeline confirming it.
Congratulations, Ramie. We're running back a 36-win team.
So Vucevic is staying.
I like you, Kyle.
Fisher continues, the Bulls have engaged several teams. I'll say that again. The Bulls have engaged several teams on LaVine trade opportunities. Doesn't say that teams are calling Chicago. It says Chicago is calling teams. That is fascinating. Chicago is actively trying to trade Zach LaVine, according to Jake Fisher. He continues to write, the All-Star guard enters the second season of his 5-year, $215 million contract. Chicago, however, is said to hold LaVine's trade value far above the return that Washington netted for Bradley Beal. First question. I got a few of them here for you, Ramie. First question, Zach LaVine, interested?
No. For the Kings, no.
Why?
I think Zach LaVine, much like the Bulls do, think much more of Zach LaVine than what he's actually worth. I was, Nick, I'm in a number of different group chats, which you can't handle. You're not down with the group chats, but
listen, time out. I can handle them. I choose not to handle them.
Okay,
I
didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean to.
It's not like my head starts to blow up when
it's not your it's not your jam. But I don't
have a breakdown.
One of the many group chats I'm in is because I'm friends of folks from many a fandom, but it's just my brother and a few other Chicago fans. And my buddy put it perfectly. If Zach LaVine was your Aaron Gordon, like the third best player on a championship team, you're probably in pretty good shape.
Would he be the third best player on this team?
The problem is, will Zach LaVine accept that he's the third best player on a team? Unless he's going somewhere where there is a clear cut number one. Like
one of my Kuzma arguments is that if you pay him $25+ million a year, Kuzma's going to come in and be like, I want my shot.
Zach LaVine is going to come in here thinking he's the dude, or at least he along with De'Aaron Fox is the dude. And I don't think first of all, I don't think he's that dude to have a role that big or to depend on him that much. But I also just don't think that he'll accept less than that. That's part of the problem in Chicago. Him and DeMar DeRozan don't want to share the spotlight and the basketball, and there's not enough shots to go around for the two of them. Zach LaVine thinks much more of Zach LaVine than I do. I'll just put it that way.
The idea is so enticing, though. If you just think about the basketball part of this, LaVine has showed in the past that he can defend. Now, again, much like Kuzma, it's optional. He shows up, flips the coin, walks into the locker room and says, hey, guys, I hit on heads tonight. I'm not going to defend. But if you think about LaVine, just like if you're creating a team in a video game, if you think about LaVine along with De'Aaron Fox, oh, man, that's a spicy sandwich. That is a very, very scrumptious thought.
And he's not going to play very much defense.
The freak athleticism, right, of Fox and LaVine.
Mm-hmm.
LaVine shooting. He can play off the ball from Fox. I just think, he would be so good as a fit for this team. That's part of it. It's enticing. It's enticing to think. It's enticing to think of it. But
I would tell you to resist.
I'm ultimately out. I'm ultimately out on LaVine.
Good.
3 max players scares the crap out of me. If you're maxing out Fox, you're maxing out Domas, you're maxing out LaVine, with the new CBA, good luck. Because if you have those 3 guys on max deals with this new CBA, the rest of your team is going to be Kyle Ledbetter, Rami Makloff, Nick Cattles, and Simone Rickford if they allow women to play in the NBA soon.
I can hoop. I'm just saying.
Not with that Mickey Mouse hand. So you've got a lot of,
What you talking about?
When you look at the max, I just think it would handcuff you and make it extremely tough to build any kind of depth around this team. Yes, you'd still have Keegan, but I'd imagine Kevin Huerter would be out. Maybe you wouldn't have Keegan, and that's another thing. I'm concerned that the price would be outrageous. Chicago would likely be asking you for Huerter, Keegan Murray, and draft picks.
Kyle threw something in the trade machine today. What was it, Kyle? You had him trading Davion, Huerter, and 2 first-round picks?
That would work, assuming we use the trade exception to complete the trade. That would work.
So, yeah, it's 26 and 28 first-rounder, Davion and Huerter.
No, thank you.
Which is just something I threw in. It doesn't have to be those picks, but it's just the Huerter and Davion contracts are the more important thing.
I got you. I'm out on Zach LaVine. I'm sorry.
One more thing you've got to think about.
I do think LaVine.
I do think LaVine is better with the basketball in his hands, and that part of it would be an issue. Same with Kuzma. Same with other guys. You have Fox, you have Domas. Those are your two high usage players. They have the ball in their hands. You run offense through them. And to go along with Ramie's thought that LaVine would be like, hey, man, I'm a superstar, which he is. It's time for me to get going. Give me the basketball. Very interesting. Very interesting idea, but I would lean no on Zach LaVine. 916-339-1140 is the text line. Number is 1-800-920-1140 if you'd like to call us. YouTube, always, you can chat with us, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140. Your thoughts on Zach LaVine? Would you take that shot, given what it would cost you and given his game? Would you take that shot if you were the Kings, or would you pass on Zach LaVine? We'll get to that and more coming up.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Apparently, there is a cage match brewing between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Now, I hope this happens for many reasons. Number one, it just goes with the downfall of our society. Number two, nothing more fun than seeing super ultra mega billionaires just beat the hell out of each other. Number three, it would obviously be a terrible, terrible, terrible fight.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
But do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Your home is the place where you know your loved ones are secure. But the things that keep your home protected can't keep pests at bay. That's where RAID comes in. For 60 years, RAID scientists have worked to protect people around the world with trusted research, ingredients, testing standards, and product efficacy. RAID seeks to create a better future for all, especially the ones you love most. RAID, protection for all.
Delivery's at the door. Can someone please unlock?
It's been an eventful afternoon with a spike in bookings at Claudia's event space.
We'd love to host Mermaid Fest.
She was already planning on having more event planners on hand.
500? That's a lot of tails.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start. And Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready
to go to work.
It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring today.
It's the 4th of July Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical pool, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
Attention contractors and DIY enthusiasts. Don't miss the ultimate DeWalt sale event at Fasteners Tool Outlet in Sacramento next Saturday, July 8th. Unbeatable prices on DeWalt power tools and one-day only deals with free batteries and tools. Grab a 4-piece brushless combo kit for $299 and save up to 50% on select hand tools and accessories. Again, that's July 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
At Elk Grove Honda, we see every Honda buyer as a member of the family, so we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we would buy from ourselves. See our selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air in a public place in front of your kids and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using Stem mosquito repellent is the right way. Stem effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Antonio Spurs announced Wednesday that French phenom Victor Wembanyama will not be joining the team in Sacramento for the California Classic, but he will join the team in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League Showcase. If you are like Wemby and won't be in the building July 3rd and 5th for the Classic, you can always tap in at SactownSports.com. A handful of NFL players are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week after allegedly violating the NFL's policy on gambling, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers joins a growing list of subjects implicated in prohibited gambling acts according to league guidelines. The NFL plans to reinforce and clarify its gambling policy to players and personnel amid the rapid proliferation of sports betting. I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Welcome back in to Cattles and Ramie.
With you 1 mile at a time during the afternoon drive. Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
Hello out there. How y'all doing? Happy hump day. It is Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Feels like a Thursday, though.
Something I literally asked at our to start our show meeting today.
Yeah.
Like, it's Wednesday, right? Everyone's like, yes, Robbie. Okay, cool.
It's all
right.
A lot is going on. It's all blending into my head.
This is my second cup of coffee of the day. Trying to cut back from 5 to 3.
It's all kind of just mush. Just
it's
mush
hard
in my head.
Coffee is a real drug.
It is.
I could not add to that because I've never had it. So
Never had it.
never had coffee.
Never tried it.
Never had a sip?
I actually had one single sip of coffee when I was like 10 or 11.
Me and Nick are the same.
What?
Never a sip, Kyle?
No, I had, like 3 sips of coffee when I was like 15, and I haven't really had it since.
Listen, if you're driving, pull over. I know this is deeply upsetting to so many listening right now. This is kind of wild, you guys.
I don't even know.
She says 10 seconds after Ramie says coffee's a drug.
Yeah, it is. But
Yeah, coffee being a drug.
point.
Just really, really good. Fresh, it's hot, smells so good.
It's a lot of things that people are addicted to.
Coffee being a drug is not wild.
I
but-
literally get like crippling headaches if I don't get my fix.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's a real drug. I'm not even kidding. It's a
My
real
kid has
drug.
coffee in the morning.
Trying to cut back from 5 to 3.
It's not a good thing.
I know. That's why I'm trying to cut back.
Get yourself a partner who looks at you the way Ramie looks at his coffee mug.
I'm trying.
Oh, you
I'm
should
trying.
see me with my first cup in the morning.
No, I shouldn't. I don't need to see that.
It's so good.
I
Just
saw you
really,
today,
really good.
and
Fresh,
that was-
hot, and
Smells
intimate
so
moment.
good. That was enough.
Intimate moment.
Couple of Kings thoughts here from listeners. Let's start with I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm sorry.
Give it a shot. Shoot that shot, Nick.
I don't know if it's like a joke or not, and I don't want to say it's a joke because if it's the person's name, then I feel bad calling their name a joke or something that might look like a joke. It's Chiu Saturn. I think that's the name. Just a straight up name.
I'm gonna go with it.
How would you pronounce this? Chiew. Chiu.
Chew. Yeah.
It could be Chiu or Chew.
Yes.
And S-A-E-T.
It could be Chiu. Yeah.
Yeah. S-A-E-T-E-R-N. Saturn.
S-E-T-A-R.
Jesus, this is terrible. S-A-E.
What did they say?
We're majoring in bad radio for the last 2 minutes.
No doubt.
Anyway.
We go with Saturn.
They asked, what about Taurean Prince for the Kings? Who today, if you didn't hear, Taurean Prince was
apparently Taurean Prince didn't hear,
was told by Adrian Wojnarowski that he would not be returning to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Taurean Prince as a rotational wing. What do you think?
I'm intrigued. As soon as I saw that he was released, I was intrigued. He's from what I saw, a friend of mine tweeted out good percentage on the catch and shoot threes and good percentage on the corner threes, which obviously are two things he'll get plenty of in Mike Brown's system, and with Domas and Fox opening up those shots for him. So maybe a good fit, brings a little bit of size. I don't know how much defense he plays. That's something they definitely need to upgrade. But yeah, I think he could be a fit as a guy to come off the bench, a role player for this Kings team.
Would not mind it at all.
No.
Would not mind it
Would
at
you
all.
want Prince and Sasha Vezenkov and Trey Lyles all coming back?
Sure.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I know that would be like $20 million, but I know they have mid-level exceptions and stuff.
I think Taurean is more of a 3. I think Vezenkov is more of a 4. And I think Lyles is your extra depth at the 4. Maybe even a little bit at the 5, small ball 5 with Trey. I think you could make it work. I like the idea of what Prince can bring. I like his skill set. I think it would help this team, no doubt. Like Ramie said, he can knock down threes. He's not somebody who's going to be complaining about minutes or any of that kind of stuff. So, he's not the greatest defensive player. It's kind of he's declined in that category the last couple of years, but he's still only 29. Just turned 29 in March. So I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I would at least entertain it if I were Monty McNair.
Even if the skill sets are a little bit repetitive with other players they're planning to bring on the roster?
Well, I don't know if they're going to bring those people in. Would you like me to break down the roster with 17 different options, Kyle? Is that what we like to do?
Let's go down all the different timelines.
I guess I'm
Nick. Let's roll through contingency F. Let's just throw. I don't know who's in, who's out. I mean,
aren't we kind of operating under the assumption Sasha Vezenkov is going to be on the team next year?
Yeah, and I don't think Vezenkov is a carbon copy of Prince.
Yeah, no, I think they can coexist on the roster.
Again, I think Prince is more of a 3. I think Vezenkov is more of a 4.
Interesting. So both of them could be playing on the floor at the same time.
Not sure.
I don't know how much you'd see of them.
Now you want to go through rotations. How much information would you like me to roll through here, Kyle? For you, would you want me to break down the minutes per for everybody? Let's build. You know what we should do, Ramie? Let's construct a theoretical Kings team, and then also break down the minutes of each guy
distribution
of the hypothetical
that
team.
Mike Brown is going to use. There is that.
Kyle, this is like NBA 2K.
And then how the finances work. We got to factor that in.
What are we doing?
Or we could not do any of that.
Text line 916-339-1140. We need a jump from Keegan and a solid role player.
Oh, you need more than that.
I want to get into Keegan in the 5 o'clock hour and how a new signing might impact him, and it might not impact him for the best. You could argue that if you want Keegan to make a jump, if you sign somebody that is going to be more demanding than Harrison Barnes and a bigger piece of your offense than Barnes was, that's taking the offense from somebody else. Now, that could be Herter. It could be even Fox. It's not going to be Sabonis because it's not like he was jacking up tons of shots.
Right.
But it's going to eat into the shots. So do you want those shots to go to Keegan? Just something to think about. Something to
ponder.
And I've heard a lot of people. I heard Chris Watkins talking about this earlier today too, Ramie. Are people happy with what the team did last year and how much they need to improve if they want to do next year what they did this year and all those kinds of things? I actually agree with Watkins on this. I agree with him that you need to do more. You need to add more. You need to upgrade. Yes, it was a great season last year, but a lot of things also went the way of the Kings. they were ridiculously healthy, like historically healthy.
Yeah.
Their starting five played all the time. So you can't necessarily just think that's going to happen again. And then you look at other teams in the Western Conference, moves that they're making. It was a down season for several teams that you would think might be better this year. So I think you've got to upgrade. You have to upgrade. I don't think you could just walk in and say, we're good. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think the same team from last year wins 50 games.
I can't see them not upgrading, though. Unless you're just going to sit on that money that you just freed up.
I agree.
Because even bringing back Harrison Barnes, you're still going to have more money left to play around with. And if not bump him to the bench, go and add somebody to the bench like a Taurean Prince, as we just talked about, who's going to make you that much deeper and more versatile and give you different ways to beat teams. I can't see them just sitting on this money, bringing back Harrison Barnes, maybe adding Vezenkov to the mix and going, yep, we're good, all set here. I can't see that happening.
All right, let's stick with the Kings. Would it make sense for them to give Domas the bag this summer?
The King season might be over, but Sactown sports coverage never stops.
Expectations coming into the season and how we performed. I mean, it's one of the more special seasons that I've had in my 11 years.
Stay tuned all off season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
This 4th of July, it's all about selection and convenience. With 17 award-winning dealers, 20 brands, and thousands of vehicles, the Roseville Auto Mall has Northern California's largest selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento. And I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood Home Furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 74 years. Look for made in America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air, in a public place, in front of your kids and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using Stem mosquito repellent is the right way. Stem effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
Did you know that money market accounts offer higher dividends than a traditional savings account, all while still being able to access your money at any time? Hey, Jason Ross here, and I want to tell you to step up your earning power with a Level Up money market savings account at Safe Credit Union. With competitive dividend rates, you can take your savings to the next level. Visit safecu.org/levelup for more information and to open up an account today. Insured by NCUA.
One brings Mackloff magic, while the other, we're still trying to figure that out.
Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
All right, we're going to get to Domas and whether or not it makes sense for Monty McNair to throw the bag at him this summer instead of waiting. I was in the lab last night. I was breaking down all the numbers.
Yeah,
I had to
heard.
If you haven't noticed, people listening to the program or watching us on YouTube, I have OCD. And unfortunately, like when something pops up in my head, I just can't erase it. I can't get rid of it. That's why I slept 4 hours the other night. Like if I get up in the middle of the night or the morning and I think of something, I'm laying there for like 45 minutes thinking about it, just how my brain works. Just constantly, nonstop. And it's another reason why I don't drink caffeine, because the energy and the obsessiveness is out of control. I can't imagine. This is me without caffeine, okay?
Oh, boy. I understand why you don't do caffeine.
Think about this amped up by 10. Yeah, nobody wants that, especially me. So I was up last night.
You got it?
And
did you crack the code? You got the algorithm?
I looked at all the math, and I think I have it. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, we have some texts in reaction to what we were talking about last segment, Ramie, this idea of whether or not the Kings have to upgrade, should upgrade, need to upgrade to be better. Are you happy with last year? Do you think this team could be as good as they were last year, next year, if they didn't make many moves? And I'm of the belief that they need to upgrade. That's where I'm at. Arthur Smith in the YouTube chat, nothing wrong with a team getting better unless a team won the chip and trying to repeat. They at least earn that. Otherwise, you keep tooling up. So you want to keep retooling. You want to keep adding, says Arthur Smith. Manny Too Legit, our friend that's on YouTube, but an awful lot, chatted in. We need to get better. We need to get past the first round next season. I also would say this, Ramie. You theoretically could get better, but still not get past the first round.
We were talking about this today when I was doing the crosstalk with on Chris and company, and Kyle was pretty insistent that you need at least a first round playoff series victory. And Chris was saying, you know, I might, there is a way I could be happy with the season if that's not the case. A first round playoff exit can look and feel a lot of different ways based on the road there, based on the matchup, based on a lot of different factors and things that could happen between now and 9 months from now. Should we be sitting here talking about a first round playoff exit? You know what I mean? So I tend to lean with Kyle, and I have a hard time imagining a season ending in the first round being satisfying or a good season. But would I rule it out? No, I wouldn't rule it out. There's a path to that not feeling like a disappointment or a failure at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on so much context that we don't know yet, and how the season goes and what teams look like.
Right.
Yada, yada, yada. You know, did you deal with an injury and you missed a month or so from Fox or Sabonis or both guys? Did you fall back to like the 6th seed because of that? Did you fall back because other teams just played out of their minds and you end up in the first round with a very tough matchup like you had this past year? There's a bunch of unknowns. But I think people kind of fall into this idea of like, well, if you did not get further along in the year versus the prior year, you didn't get better, but you could get better. It's just how much better did other teams get? And what were the circumstances that you had to deal with throughout the year or a playoff series? Right? I mean, you could have somebody turn their ankle in a playoff series and all of a sudden you lost in the first round, but were you a better team? arguably you could be a better team. So let's get to my math.
All right.
Yesterday we sat here, and I will be transparent about this. When I do sucky radio, I'm fully transparent and aware that when we're in the middle of it, it's probably not the best radio. That happened a couple segments ago. We had a couple minutes where it was just bad radio.
I've never done bad radio.
Thanks to Kyle.
Right.
So,
Hold up.
Well, your whole let me ask 55 questions about Torian Prince probably wasn't necessary.
That wasn't the bad radio
No,
part.
I know, but I added that to the other bad radio part. So yesterday we got into this.
It's all your fault.
We jumped down this rabbit hole.
Keep your eyes to yourself.
Of math. And it was just a bunch of numbers by the end of the show. And it was Ramie's head was spinning, and Kyle actually had a calculator out. I'm not kidding. He had a calculator out.
A legit calculator.
Wait, like an actual
not your
have
phone,
that on
not
our
your
phone.
phone.
What do we need
No,
an actual
I mean a
calculator
Texas
for?
Instrument calculator.
Yeah. Yes.
You can literally pull one up on your computer. Our calculators they're still making calculators.
I've got one right here.
Why?
Because I am an economics degree person in college, and I
Okay.
still have my calculator from that.
It's still inexcusable. It doesn't matter if you went to school to be an
I don't care if you
astronaut.
went to MIT, man. It's right here on my phone.
You can't bring a phone to take a test.
We also do sports radio.
Oh,
What are
that's
we
true.
doing? Anyway, so I was all over the place with these numbers because James Ham had some numbers and I had some numbers and my numbers didn't match his numbers. And I figured it out.
You and Ham had some beef.
So no.
Oh.
No. There's no beef.
I just want
At least
like
not
it.
from my
I
end.
like it, Ramie. Thank you.
Ramie just wanted to make a
Thank
meat
you.
joke.
There was no beef with James Ham.
That's baloney.
I hate all of you.
I'm sorry. Continue
The
on.
three of you together at times.
Carry on. Say your math. You're doing math.
Okay.
That joke cut deep.
So I'm going to power through. So the Sabonis math, I figured it out. I finally figured it out.
All right.
And the payoff is not going to be great for everybody listening to the last 3 minutes. And I want to point out that this segment was going to be at least hopefully decent radio until Ramie pumped the brakes, and then Kyle pumped the brakes, and then Simone pumped the brakes, and then Kyle pumped the brakes again. And it was, snip, snap, snip, snap, stop, stop, go, go.
I feel like we're still making good radio.
Anyway,
Uh-huh.
well, you can have that opinion if you'd like. Certainly not going to get in the way. If you love this, then God bless you. All right, so here's the gist. If the Kings decide to extend Domas right now, in totality, the deal would be 5 years, $220 million.
Okay.
The final year of that contract would be 27-28. If the Kings waited until next year to extend Domas, it would go from a 5-year, $220 million deal to a 5-year, $246 million deal. That is if Domas is all NBA.
Gotcha.
So if he makes all NBA again, he can get a 5-year, $246 million extension.
I don't know what that was. Keep going.
You mute.
It
your
wasn't you,
computer.
Kyle. It was.
Yeah,
I just
it
did.
was.
Ramie
I
forgets
just-
to mute his computer every day. Sometimes we just luck out. Most of the time when a sound goes off, it's during a break. But this time it was smack dab in the middle of the week.
I got an email.
I'm never going to get through the math!
Go ahead.
Sounds like you've got beef now.
I'm going to fight all of you. You know what? Just stop it, Kyle. Come in here, and I'm going to fight you. And Simone, you take over the board. And if it
Okay.
gets bad for Kyle, call the cops.
This is a little too raw for me.
I'm just gonna sit back and listen to your math.
I'm no chicken.
My computer is muted. My mic. I'm gonna mute my mic. Finish it up. Bring it home, Nick.
You're the worst. So 5 years, $220 million if you extend him now. If you extend him next year, it's 5 years, $246 if he's all NBA. If you extend him next year and he doesn't make all NBA, it's 5 years, $211 million. So here's the thought process. If you think Domas is going to be on the all NBA team after this year, then you sign him to this extension now because you save $26 million, and you also are able to include this year within that 5-year deal, so it ends a year shorter. So you're not having to pay Domas a lot of money when he's 33 years old.
Gotcha.
So bumping him now will save you $26 million and cuts the deal short a year. If you think he's going to be all NBA, that's the gamble Monty has to make. If Monty does not think Domas is going to make all NBA.
But if I'm Monty, I don't want to bet on failure. You know what I mean?
If you
I'm getting in now.
Right, but if you bet on failure, if he was going to bet on failure, then he would end up saving $9 million.
That's nothing.
Which is negligible.
Right. Now sign him up now.
So that is painfully.
There, you did it.
The options for Domas.
We did it. We did it, guys.
Even if Nick is roasting right now.
We did it.
We did it. We got there.
Ramie's got a frog in his pocket. We did it all. America. Beeman posted in the YouTube chat, Kyle, come in here and I'm going to fight you. Those are words I said.
I'm no chicken.
I hope HR wasn't listening.
Well,
I've got my calculator to defend
violation.
me.
I know I might be fired. I might be gone soon if I fight Kyle.
Awkward silence.
So
then you'd be roast beef.
Hate is not a strong enough word. In this moment right now, for you, hate is not a strong enough word.
I'm just being a turkey over here.
Are you going to stop him, Ramie? Because I can't.
What can I do?
Are you going to stop him?
Do? What am I going to do?
Okay, I'll stop encouraging
Simone.
it. I'm laughing back here the
I
entire
don't
time.
control the mic.
Simone,
I would have
I'll
turned
do it,
his
yeah.
mic off.
You're in the same room as him, Simone.
Maybe I'll
Can you-
tag in for producer. I'll sit in the main producer chair.
I don't ever suggest violence, even though I just said I want to fight him.
That's baloney.
But if you want to just stroll, like just push your chair over towards him and kick him in the shin really hard.
Maybe a rear naked chokehold.
Would not be the worst thing in the world. It would not be the worst thing in the world. Okay, we're going to try to gather things up here. I don't feel confident that we're going to, but we're going to attempt to get some order. Restore some order.
We're just starting to cook.
Oh, is that what we're doing? I'm ready for another food thing from Kyle because you said cook. I'm waiting for it. All right, do the Kings have the most to prove in the NBA this offseason? We'll talk about that next.
Lovable, squeezable, Nick.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
It's almost the 4th of July, and you know what that means. One of the biggest grilling parties you can throw all year. It's Nick Cattle suggesting you celebrate your 4th of July the right way with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Our Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned us into pros. Napoleon grills are all made with premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Go to Napoleon.com for your nearby Napoleon Grills dealer. Napoleon Grills, now is the time for the best selection of grills and fine accessories. Get ready for the 4th of July.
Prestige line comes with a lifetime warranty. During a Flex Alert, let's do the dishes after 9.
What about the laundry?
It can wait until tonight or even the morning.
The AC?
It's at 78. Let's cool the house in the morning.
All right, so we're just chilling until 9.
Pretty much. And we can help avoid a power outage.
Putting off chores for later and hanging out with my best friend. I love Flex.
Maybe you should just unplug the appliances downstairs.
Good idea. Better acoustics in the basement.
California, the power is ours with Flex Alerts. Flex Alerts, the power is ours.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
You could throw your flip-flop at a bug.
Ew, a bug, get it.
But the chances of actually hitting it
Over there.
are statistically
It's still alive.
unlikely. Good thing nature's got your back. Stem bug killers combine powerful active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and geraniol and scientifically engineer them into effective bug-fighting formulas, safe for use as directed around people, pets, and throughout the home. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep, switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at Uma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
It's the 4th of July Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical bull, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Antonio Spurs announced Wednesday that French phenom Victor Wembanyama will not be joining the team in Sacramento for the California Classic, but he will join the team in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League Showcase. If you are like Wemby and won't be in the building July 3rd and 5th for the Classic, you can always tap in at SactownSports.com. A handful of NFL players are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week after allegedly violating the NFL's policy on gambling, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers joins a growing list of subjects implicated in prohibited gambling acts according to league guidelines. The NFL plans to reinforce and clarify its gambling policy to players and personnel amid the rapid proliferation of sports betting. I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Welcome back in to Cattles and Ramie.
Live and local in the afternoon.
They always keep you on edge.
Cattles
and Ramie
on Sactown Sports.
Third hour of the radio program. Thanks for joining us as always. We appreciate you.
We're going to be keeping folks updated on the NHL draft, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Going live to it.
Here's my first prediction. Let's see if I get this right.
Okay.
Connor Bedard goes first.
to my Blackhawks
in this draft. Yes. You heard it here first. It's not because everybody knows it's going to happen. It's because I am telling you this.
Nick knows. He's got
You
inside
guys
info.
didn't hear that in my headline?
Oh, of course I heard that in your headline,
thank you.
Simone.
So
that was in your headline.
We are inching closer to a big day on Friday. Big day on Friday. The NBA free agency day that we've been waiting for. And we told you at the beginning of the week, there's going to be a lot of stuff said, written, all of those things. So get ready. Most of this is stuff that's thrown against the wall. But ESPN came out with what pretty much every outlet comes out with at this time of year, their free agency preview. And in this preview, Ramie, 3 of the 4 insiders for ESPN essentially say the Kings have the most to prove in that they need to take a big swing. Do you think the Kings have the most to prove in the NBA during this offseason?
I mean, I think perceptually, yes, Nick, because for whatever reason, I mean, you look at the championship NBA Finals odds for next year, and literally with 3 players under contract, 3 rostered players, they'd have you believe that the Lakers have a better chance of winning a championship than the Sacramento Kings do. I think that for them to take that next step and for them to be taken seriously by the basketball world and to not just think, oh, that was a cute little story, the Sacramento Kings in 2023 of getting the 3 seed. But you already have people saying, well, they were so much health, and we've talked about it, Nick. They were so much healthier than everybody else, and they capitalized on that. I think for them to go into the season being taken seriously, you're going to need to add to what you already did last year. You're going to need to make some sort of significant addition for folks to be talking about the Kings in a real way as some kind of Western Conference or championship contender. I don't think people are necessarily there yet, despite, we've played some of the sound bites of people putting them on their various lists,
right?
And or whatever the case might be. But yeah, I think they do have a lot to prove to a lot of people around the NBA and the basketball world.
I'm glad you brought that up because going back a few weeks ago, we had all of this momentum from ESPN putting the Kings over, to use a wrestling term. This idea that they were going to be a top 5 contending team, top 4 contending team, depending on the personality working at ESPN on a given day. That's what you would get. Then I move forward to this today, and it just feels like that the Kings are being built up to like almost needle them, right? Well, I think they're going to be a contender. They're going to be a top 5 contender. That's why there's so much offseason pressure on them. That's why they need to make all of these moves. They need to make a gigantic splash, because if they don't, then they will not be who we think that they could be. It's all kind of tied in together. The fact is, there are a lot of teams, to me, that have much more on the line this offseason than the Kings do. And for anybody to act as if this was like, oh, the end-all, be-all offseason for the Kings it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, we did say I think they need to upgrade to be better, and I want them to upgrade. But to say that they are the team with the most – how about the Lakers? With 39-year-old LeBron James, the window closing. Reports are that they're deciding to bring everybody back pretty much. They're just going to run it back from last year. A lot to prove. How about Kyrie and Luka in Dallas if Kyrie stays in Dallas, which seems, we talked about this earlier on the show. Adrian Wojnarowski saying that Kyrie is pretty much, for all intents and purposes, already back to Dallas. Kyrie and Luka, can they work as a partnership? Dallas might lose Luka if they don't win over the next year or 2. You're not telling me that's pressure? How about Golden State, who just brought in Chris Paul, making that an absolute 1 to 2 year window for the Warriors with them aging and being hurt an awful lot? You don't think there's a ton of pressure on them? You don't think they have a lot to prove that move was the right move? How about the Celtics, who traded Marcus Smart for Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think the Celtics have a lot to prove after losing Game 7 in Boston to Miami in the way that they did? You don't think they have a ton to prove in a window that many people think is a 2-year window because the new CBA? And maybe with Jaylen Brown eventually being on the block 365 days from Friday, you don't think they have a lot to prove? Milwaukee, we talked about this earlier. They're deciding to run it back. According to Mark Stein, Brooke Lopez will be back. Looks like Chris Middleton is going to be back. Even Jay freaking Crowder is going to be back, likely to Milwaukee. Milwaukee's decision to run it back. What if they just age out? What if the 5-game series against the Miami Heat was the beginning of the end? They bring all those guys back, and they just look older, and they're not any better this year. And Giannis is frustrated. They don't have a lot to prove. Like, ultimately, if the Kings improve their team, they upgrade. And let's say, Ramie, they fall back to, like, the 5th seed or 6th seed. Is that the absolute worst thing in the world? No. Now, you'd like them to finish in the top 3. You'd like them to build on this year. But as we talked about earlier in the show, there is a scenario that you're actually better this coming year than you were this past year, talent-wise, on paper-wise. But maybe you're not as healthy. Maybe other teams around you have a better regular season. Maybe you get off to a slow start. If you fall back to like the 5th or 6th seed, it's not the end of the world. So, are the Kings one of the teams you can talk about? Yes, of course. And they should be talked about because they're fascinating.
People are looking at the fact that you have, and who do we talk? It was, oh, geez. We had him on Monday. Keith Smith.
Yes.
And I asked him how rare it is.
You actually text to get him on the show.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Reached out directly. I asked him how rare it is.
And couldn't remember who it was.
That a team who finished 3rd in their conference is number 3 the subsequent summer in terms of cap space and have $36 million to work with. And he said that doesn't happen all that often. Usually that happens with younger rosters that have sort of accelerated the rebuild process, have gotten too competitive faster than folks within the building thought that they could. I think this is a team that a lot of people are looking at and going, oh, okay, you're the 3 seed and you have $35 million to work with. You better show me something.
Yeah.
We better see something next year from this basketball team.
Beeman brings up a great option with this conversation. Phoenix. Beeman says nowhere near the most pressure. Phoenix mortgaged their future and their depth.
Yep.
New owner and everything. Tons of pressure in Phoenix. Absolutely. It's not to say that the Kings should not try to upgrade and that there's zero pressure on them. It's just to try to buy this narrative from 3 out of the 4 ESPN's insiders saying they have the most to prove. No, they don't. De'Aaron Fox is still in his mid-20s. Sabonis is 27. Keegan just got drafted into the league last year. Herter is young. Their entire core is like, 25, 24 to 27 or 28. We all want them to play well this year. We all want them to win. We all want them to do better this year than they did last year. But it doesn't mean, oh my God, the world is ending if they don't finish as a top 2 or 3 seed in the Western Conference. So your thoughts on that? ESPN saying that the Kings have the most to prove this offseason in the NBA. 916-339-1140 is the text line. The phone number is 1-800-920-1140. You can always catch up with us on YouTube, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140. Some great traffic there today as we talk Kings offseason. Give us that thumbs up. We always appreciate the likes. We're up to 29 today.
Hey.
I'd love to see a 50 spot possibly.
50 burger would be nice.
During this Wednesday. So we'll get to your reaction on the Kings.
People. Do it.
Do you believe they have the most to prove this offseason? Also, is one NBA team about to make a gigantic free agent mistake? We'll give you the latest on that in 90 seconds.
The King season might be over, but Sactown sports coverage never stops.
I feel like we grew a lot during this playoff series with our defense, and if we can sustain that during a year, that's going to help us a lot.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
With you 1 mile at a time during the afternoon drive. Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
Lots of reaction in the YouTube chat. How about RS from Rancho? I'm looking at the free agent list, and what's Russell Westbrook worth? Not a lot.
A turkey sandwich.
Not to this team.
Yeah, no.
Out on Westbrook. Now, maybe he would make a lot of sense for other teams. I'm sure he could.
Oh, somebody's going to pay Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he gets. I'm interested to see what he gets in the market.
I thought he helped the Clippers.
He did. He played well with the Clippers.
And if I'm the Clippers, I'm trying to bring him back, especially with all the question marks surrounding Paul George and Kawhi Leonard constantly.
Yeah, we'll get back to the Kings, of course. So much Kings talk on the way. We've talked about them for most of this week so far, and we're going to just continue to talk more about them as we get closer to free agency on Friday. But there are other things happening in the NBA which are inevitably related and will impact the Kings as well. Nikola Vucevic, 3-year, $60 million extension with the Bulls. We could wait to see what the money is actually looking like as far as
working so well.
Partial guarantees or
run that back.
Any of that stuff. It is interesting with the idea that we talked about Domas's extension and whether or not Monty will give Domas that extension this summer. It's very interesting to see these numbers come in for Vucevic. How do you feel about Vucevic compared to Domas? Is Domas worth 18 to 20 million more than Vucevic is? Front offices play this game. Is Monty looking at Vucevic's deal and going back to Domas and telling him, hey, look, we think you're more 30 million. I don't want to overlook one thing, by the way, about the Domas extension stuff. Jake Fisher in his story yesterday mentioned a 4-year, $120 million extension for Domas. Now, was Fisher mentioning that in his story because he heard that directly from a source and that they might get a 4-year, $120 million deal done? If so, oh, baby, sign me up. If somehow, some way, you can get Domas on a 4-year, $120 million extension, you do that right now. And so you wonder, if you look at Vucevic's deal, you look at, $20 million a year for Vucevic. Does that help Monty? It could. But it might not. Bam Adebayo's at $32 million a year. There's other centers making $30 to $40 million a year. Sabonis, of course, coming off of an all-NBA season. It's just always interesting to see these deals come in because that's what GMs are doing. They're looking at similar positions, right? They're looking at those positions and saying, all right, how much is that guy going to make and how much is he really worth? How much do I want to pay him? So Vucevic is going to stay in Chicago, which obviously does not have Ramie throwing any kind of individual personal parade.
Plan the parade.
Run it back, baby.
Get the parade chair ready, everybody. Get it ready.
Organization.
Meanwhile, Cattles and Ramie on a hump day. Lots of James Harden, Houston Rockets talk. Remember that at the end of the postseason?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was telling us that it was a fait accompli. James Harden would be a Houston Rocket. First day of free agency, he going to get the bag.
Done deal.
From the Rockets. Well, that has significantly died down.
Headed to the club.
Yeah. Well, what we've learned is that James can get to a club from anywhere.
Yes. He's going to find it.
During the playoffs, he was willing to go from Philly to Vegas to find a club.
Then came out in game 1 and dropped 42 on the Celtics.
True. And then played like a pig in the rest of the series. Had 2 really good games and 5 pretty bad ones. But
needed more time in Vegas.
We digress. That talk has significantly died down. Harden to Houston. Here's ESPN's Brian Windhorst with the latest.
I don't think just because he opts out of it, which I would expect him to do, it means that he's leaving. He took a significant pay cut last year to help the Sixers build up that roster. They did. They signed P.J. Tucker. They traded for DeAnthony Melton. And so he, frankly, is kind of in a little bit of debit based on his production. So I expect the Sixers offer to be considerably higher on whatever number of years it is. So the indications are that James Harden is going to remain in Philadelphia. I would not say for sure it's a done deal, but those are the indications. And really will come down to what sort of contract they negotiate.
Considerably higher than $35.6 million for Harden.
Not surprised. I'm not at all surprised. John Hollander in his list of top 25 free agents had James Harden over 40. I think it was $46 million.
My God.
Was what he had him making.
My God, that's outrageous.
It's going to happen, man. Somebody, and it's sounding more and more like Philly, is just like I said about Fred Van Vliet, but even more so when it comes to James Harden. Somebody's going to drastically overpay for this man's services to not win a championship.
This is 100%.
And be okay with it.
This is 100% tied to last year. Wendy brought it up a little bit there. The wink deal was done. We said it.
Of like, take the pay cut this year.
Yes.
We'll give you a nice big raise next year.
I said it at the time. Daryl Morey.
I would have pulled out that if I'm Philly.
Morey and Harden are tied at the hip. And when Harden took that wink team-friendly deal, when he didn't have to, we talked about it, and we said, he's going to get taken care of. He's going to end up getting taken care of by Philly. So am I surprised? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised whatsoever. Because we had talked about this happening a year ago. I hope anybody listening to this show right now, I hope that you find love in your life that is as strong as the love Daryl Morey has for James Harden. He can't quit James Harden. He loves James Harden.
It's like my love for coffee.
Had him in Houston, has him in Philly. Remember, when Harden got traded to Philly, Morey met him coming off of the jet. And there was this video of this big, gigantic huggy. Morey was holding. You remember when, Ramie, you don't because you weren't here at the time, but when Domas was traded and he played the first game with Fox, I think it was the first game. It was one of the first, either the first or the second. And Fox and Domas embraced late in the game. And Fox just gave Domas the biggest bear hug. I love you, man. It was intense.
I'm so happy you're here.
It was intense. Fox gave everything to Domas in that hug. That's what Morey did when Harden arrived off the private jet to Philly. There's video of it. There are photos of it. Daryl Morey loves James Harden. And if he has to pay James Harden considerably more than $35.6 million to keep him, he's going to do it. That relationship is solid. And even though I don't enjoy James Harden, I've never enjoyed his game. I think his style of play drives me crazy.
Same.
The dribble, step back, three stuff. I'm gonna dribble
Fall
until
down,
I'm gonna dribble
three.
until 4 seconds left on the shot clock and get into the paint and throw my body into 3 defenders.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. A little bit better with Philly because he facilitates more, but I just can't enjoy that. The fact is, Philly can't really replace him. If you lose him, what do you do to replace him? You got Maxey on a deal. You got Tobias Harris's deal. You could trade Tobias Harris, but you're not going to get you. Then you're going to lose Harris and Harden. And who do you replace those two guys with? You're not going to get somebody who can give you more production than those two off that trade of Tobias Harris. You've got Embiid's gigantic deal. Philly's stuck. It's like you either go, okay, we'll just let Harden walk and Tyrese Maxey's going to be the guy with Joel Embiid, or you bring Harden back. So it's just stuck between a rock and a hard place. That's just fact. So not too surprised, but that's gigantic.
And might drive Joel Embiid away within a year or two if this doesn't work.
And to go back to the short-term contracts, what's the term? If it's 2 years, $80 million, and you're saying we're going to take another bite at the apple because of the new CBA is going to crush us, then it makes more sense. But man, that's a lot of scatol. We'll continue with the Kings talk. Also, Derek Carr has finally sounded off on the Raiders. What do you say? Find out next.
Cattles
and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
This 4th of July, it's all about selection and convenience. With 17 award-winning dealers, 20 brands, and thousands of vehicles, the Roseville Auto Mall has Northern California's largest selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relieved, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Since 1776, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, but it's been a federal holiday only since 1941. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. It was a mere 7 years later when the Keys family opened their first Naturewood store in Sacramento, and I guess Northern Californians have been celebrating ever since. We celebrate an incredible selection of furniture brands made right here in America. We celebrate the kind of generous hometown hospitality that was important to Walter Keys in 1948 and continues with the Keys family and the Naturewood Home Furnishing staff today. And we celebrate the kind of quality that's been synonymous with Naturewood for all these 74 years. Look for made in America brands like Stanton, Sam Moore, Stickley, Hilltop Hickory, Simply Amish, and more during the Naturewood 4th of July sale event. Find the furniture that you will celebrate for years to come. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Attention contractors and DIY enthusiasts. Don't miss the ultimate DeWalt sale event at Fasteners Tool Outlet in Sacramento next Saturday, July 8th. Unbeatable prices on DeWalt power tools and one-day-only deals with free batteries and tools. Grab a 4-piece brushless combo kit for $299 and save up to 50% on select hand tools and accessories. Again, that's July 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
Players of all abilities will tell you that Bartley Cavanaugh Golf Course is the area's #1 course for fun. Whether you're a beginner or an accomplished player, Bartley Cavanaugh has something for you. It's a great walking course, but motorized carts are available too. The moderately sized greens and generous fairway landing areas will add to your satisfaction and smiles for the day. Near the banks of the picturesque Sacramento River, Bartley Cavanaugh features the brand new tap room for all your beverage needs. For tee times, visit bartleycavanaugh.com. It's Sacramento's #1 course for fun.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave coming to you for Amy's Outdoor Living in Sacramento on El Camino near Watt and El Dorado Hills Town Center. They've got what you need for your 4th of July celebration. Now listen, Amy's going to pay all the sales tax on all of their huge selection of in-stock furniture, cushions, and umbrellas. Their best selection of umbrellas in tons of sizes and colors. Amy's Outdoor Living is your grilling headquarters with Traeger, Weber, Big Green Egg. You gotta see those in-store savings. Free assembly and delivery on all grills for the 4th of July. And they've got a wonderful selection of rubs and sauces. Buy 4, get 10% off. And they've got 20% off home decor accessories. What more do you need? Amy's Outdoor Living on El Camino near Watt and inside Amy Ace Hardware right there in the El Dorado Town Center. Enjoy your 4th of July, and you tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Antonio Spurs announced Wednesday that French phenom Victor Wembanyama will not be joining the team in Sacramento for the California Classic, but he will join the team in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League Showcase. If you are like Wemby and won't be in the building July 3rd and 5th for the Classic, you can always tap in at SactownSports.com. A handful of NFL players are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week after allegedly violating the NFL's policy on gambling, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers joins a growing list of subjects implicated in prohibited gambling acts according to league guidelines. The NFL plans to reinforce and clarify its gambling policy to players and personnel amid the rapid proliferation of sports betting. And San Francisco Giants upstairs visiting the Blue Jays today and getting absolutely cooked at the bottom of the first. Blue Jays up 5-0.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Welcome back into Cattles and Ramie.
Live and local in the afternoon.
They always keep you on edge.
Cattles
and Ramie
on Sactown Sports.
Mic check. Let's give away some tickets.
How about that?
Mic check. Mic check.
Might as well, right?
Mic check.
Let's get some tickets out there to the people.
All right.
The people we love. The people that we appreciate. The Folsom Lake Honda Hotline / contest line is your way that you can win a couple pairs of tickets. Actually, a pair of tickets, not a couple of pairs. A pair of tickets to see Mike Epps. He's lacing up a comedy set at the Hard Rock Casino live on November 10th. Again, all you got to do is call the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop, and be caller number 8 to the contest line. 1-800-920-1140 is that phone number. 1-800-920-1140. Call number 8 to that contest line wins a pair of tickets to see Mike Epps, again, who will be at the Hard Rock Casino live on November 10th. So if you don't have anything on the calendar November 10th, if you're calling number 8, you now have something on that calendar. Congratulations to caller number 8 to 1-800-920-1140. Before we move forward here, Derek Carr spitting some hot fire at the Raiders. I did want to mention this text, 916-339-1140. We talked about the fact that I don't drink coffee, and I am very offended by this text. And really, Kyle should be offended too, because Kyle doesn't drink coffee. And the text line, this person called us aliens. They are aliens. ... And then I am very offended by this next line.
I just saw it.
So JR called the show the other day and said I was Joe Pesci.
Yes.
Because I was worked up.
Yeah.
Text line, no coffee. Actually, that explains a lot about Dollar Store Joe Pesci.
Uncalled for.
Dollar Store Joe Pesci.
Uncalled for, texter. Funny, but uncalled for. Does explain a lot, though.
I mean, talk about a shot to the groin. Dollar Store Joe Pesci. That one hurts.
I know coffee amps you up, but maybe...
What do you want to say?
It's so good. Just really, really good. Fresh. It's hot. Smells
Maybe
so
you're
good.
cranky
sometimes because you're tired and maybe some coffee would be just what you need to mellow you out.
I'm not very tired,
To
though.
mellow out the
Like
crankiness.
last night, I was up until 12:30 off 4 hours of sleep.
You haven't even been mean today, except for the threatening to fight me thing.
Yeah, I mean, I almost had you come into the studio to pummel you live.
Physical beating, yes.
We were just being turkeys out here.
And then other than that, I think I've been on my best behavior, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know what this texter has to be upset about. I mean, coffee, if you've never had it before or don't consume it, it's not that big a deal.
Dollar store Joe Pesci. I mean, that's a personal shot.
It is.
Anyway.
A good one, too.
You don't help. All right, so let's get back to sports because that's what we do. Sports.
Wonder if Derek Carr likes coffee.
Kyle trying to tie it in here. So as we know, Derek Carr, the Vegas Raiders, they had a divorce, people. And it was not many divorces are nice or amicable. This one was certainly not very nice or amicable the way it ended. If you remember, the Raiders decided at the end of the season last year that they would sit, God bless you.
Thank you.
That they would sit Derek Carr the last few weeks of the season and give us the Jared Stidham experience. So Carr was mostly professional on his end at the time. I remember he spoke at a church and people were wondering if he was going to say something, but he was very professional about it. And we all thought that was going to be the end of it. But for whatever reason, apparently Derek Carr over the last couple months, he's had some thinking that he's been doing. And he is changing his tune. And now, I don't know if I'd say going after the Raiders, but he's certainly not
holding back.
Not holding back his thoughts on how it all ended in the organization itself. And he said this to the Fresno Bee. I was, for lack of a better term, very upset. I was mad. You spend 9 years in a place, you have all the records, and you can play at a high level, and for something to get in the way, whether it was whatever reason, money-related or whatever, injury-related, I would have said I don't even want the money just to play 2 more times in front of our fans. I didn't get that opportunity, so it definitely lit a fire inside me to keep going.
I don't blame him. Things didn't end the way that he wanted them to end. Athletes, and especially quarterbacks, are super prideful people, man. And I would expect that to light a fire under a Derek Carr, that he was benched and unceremoniously disposed of by the Raiders after almost a decade of pretty good and loyal service to the Raiders, while there was a lot of chaos and nonsense happening around him. He was one of the few sort of reliable people within that organization, and that's the way you're shown the door. You're not going to be happy about that. I don't blame him one bit.
So we'll get to that. We'll continue with those thoughts in a minute, but I do want to pass along a little bit of Kings news. I don't know if this is breaking news. I mean, I guess it is breaking news. Go ahead and fire up the breaking news. This is an excuse to hit the sounder. Let's go. We got breaking news from Woj on the Kings. Kyle is furious.
When it breaks,
we have it first.
It's Sactown Sports breaking news.
He was furiously scrambling to find the breaking news, and he found it. So here it is. Adrian Wojnarowski tweets out.
Oh, man, here we go.
The Kings are picking up Kessler Edwards, team option.
Woo! Let's go.
So there you have it.
We now have 8 people on the roster.
Kessler Edwards, his option picked up by the Kings, $1.9 million team option.
Hell yeah.
Go get me a lawn chair, put on that parade route.
I mean, in all seriousness, there is a pocket of fans that will be very, very interested in this, because there are a pocket of fans that love themselves some Kessler Edwards. Now, our friend Keith Smith that joined us on Monday does bring up an interesting point here. It's $1.9 million, but it is $1.9 million that cuts into the cap space that you had. Now, you can do some other things to make some other room, right? It's all that stuff. But it is a very interesting decision because it does cut into that cap space. Now, Edwards, Adam L. in the YouTube chat, saying Edwards played great last year. he played okay given his opportunity. I wouldn't say great. I think he had a couple of good games, but obviously he was not nearly ready to be a rotational player in the playoffs. He is a nice, I don't know if project would be too harsh, but he's somebody that's got some potential that you want to try to develop and grow. And so for $1.9 million, it makes a ton of sense to bring him back as a very, very deep part of the bench as a wing. I would have to imagine Monty will do more than bring back Kessler Edwards at the wing position, but it's bringing a guy back that has some institutional knowledge and somebody who can, if you need him for 5 to 10 minutes, could play 5 to 10 minutes. He showed that he can play some defense. His shot was not very consistent whatsoever, but he showed some flashes. He showed enough flashes that this makes sense. You just, again, you wonder, the cap space thing, it's a very, very small piece of the cap, but it is $2 million you just knocked off of the 35.5. So now you're working with like 33. Again, it's not a huge number, but maybe this tells us that the Kings know exactly what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also coming off the heels of James Ham saying that the Kings are back at the negotiating table with Harrison Barnes. Are those two things linked? I don't know. They could be. But as of right now, the only news is that Woj is telling us that Kessler Edwards picked up. The team option was picked up on Edwards. And again, it makes sense for that small amount of coin to bring him back here into the fold.
You didn't want to see a revolt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of the Kessler Edwards fan base.
So that's the news from Woj this hour. And Derek Carr, as far as his comments, he also said that he survived about 20 coaches, and that's how it goes.
Said they made his wife cry.
Made his wife cry. And the benching thing I understand from the Raiders side. I mean, that's part of the business. They had a $40 million caveat to the contract that if Derek Carr was injured and couldn't pass a physical, they would have to own $40 million. So they had no shot at making the playoffs. If they played Derek Carr and Carr got hurt and they were stuck with $40 million to pay him, that would have been an all-time boneheaded decision by the front office and the management. So I understand both sides. I understand Derek Carr's side.
You can understand the Raiders and Carr's side.
Because he didn't have a chance to say goodbye and kind of, walk off the field on his terms and all that. But from the team standpoint, they weren't going to risk $40 million to an injured quarterback. They just wanted to risk, $20+ million to an injured quarterback. Kind of, sort of. They can get out of Jimmy G's deal. So I understand both sides of that coin, though. All right. Draft mockery's coming up.
Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
It's almost the 4th of July, and you know what that means. One of the biggest grilling parties you can throw all year. Nick Cattle suggesting you celebrate your 4th of July the right way with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Our Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned us into pros. Napoleon grills are all made with premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Go to Napoleon.com for your nearby Napoleon Grills dealer. Napoleon Grills, now is the time for the best selection of grills and fine accessories. Get ready for the 4th of July.
Prestige line comes with a lifetime warranty.
Sacramento Kings basketball is back this summer. Catch 6 games of NBA action and fun for the whole family when the California Classic Summer League returns on July 3rd and 5th. The Kings will host the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, and newly added San Antonio Spurs and Charlotte Hornets with the number 1 and number 2 NBA draft picks. 2-day passes start at just $42 and include access to all 6 games. Visit kings.com/California Classic for more information and to buy your tickets today.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
It's the 4th of July Sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
Did you know that money market accounts offer higher dividends than a traditional savings account, all while still being able to access your money at any time? Hey, Jason Ross here, and I want to tell you to step up your earning power with a Level Up money market savings account at Safe Credit Union. With competitive dividend rates, you can take your savings to the next level. Visit safecu.org/levelup for more information and to open up an account today. Insured by NCUA.
We're in the room and we're checking boards.
Do you think we're being serious?
Nah.
It's the Mockery Draft.
We do it every Friday at this time. And
Friday?
Every Thursday. Every
Not
Wednesday,
that either.
Every Wednesday at this time, we do the draft mockery draft, whatever big voice guy is deciding to call it. And it's just, we just draft a cup of coffee of the day. Trying to cut back from 5 to 3. Yep. That's what's happening.
I think you need that extra cup today.
I'm trying, Kyle. I'm trying.
I like that you're doing something to be healthy.
Well, thank you. I seek your approval, Kyle, in all things that I do. So I'm glad you're happy for me and proud of me that I'm trying to better myself and drink less coffee. But draft mockery is a pretty simple concept. It's just we draft random things. And Nick, who I'm sure will be coming back in the studio here any moment, he was listening to Sirius XM Radio, one of their hip hop channels.
That's right.
And they were doing a countdown of the top 500.
500 is an obscene number that should never be utilized for countdowns.
The top 500 rap and hip hop songs of all time. And I just want to know who was the poor soul or poor souls that were tasked with putting together that list.
It's kind of intimidating, right?
Yes.
500 is a daunting number.
It's a huge number. And
I'm almost like 100 is like, okay, that's formidable, but we can figure that out, and at least that'll be challenging. 500 is ridiculous.
At what point? Because I'm sure there was like a committee. I'm sure there was a group of people. Nick will be back in a minute. I see you guys wonder. I'm sure there was a group of people and a committee that were involved in this thing. At what point, if you're one of the people in that room, do you just throw up your hands and go, yeah, sure? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to sit there and passionately debate 375 versus 376? You know what I mean? And who deserves to be where?
And this is where I struggle today, too, with it. I don't know whether or not to base it off of lyricism for hip hop, or do we go, is it more of a comprehensive, idea? Or do I approach it with is it so good because of its popularity? I don't know.
I went ahead and I have so we're drafting our favorite rap and hip hop songs today. That'll be today's draft mocker.
Somehow the 1 week JJ's not here and you filled in with this pale little skinny white boy.
Yes, that was not planned. That is not how we
I know, it's just so unfortunate. I think
it wasn't by design.
But I definitely couldn't because it's impossible. Like for me, when you ask things like this, like your favorite movie, your favorite song, your favorite food, whatever, like things that there are too many for me to pick, too many that I love for me to pick from. I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. So I just picked, we have 3 rounds usually.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Nick. I just picked like the 3 artists or groups that most influenced me and started going through their catalogs and trying to pick a favorite song of theirs, which I can't even do that.
That was a very interesting
to be quite
approach.
honest with you.
I don't know where to go with this. I just searched Spotify like some pedestrian today, and I was like, hip-hop. And went through it, and I was like, oh yeah, I like that one a lot. And then my list was just obscene. I got people asking me, how did it go? I was telling my friends I'm picking this, and it's been a thing, and I can't wait to see how our draft goes.
I'm just picking 3 songs I like. And,
Nick, did you vehemently disagree with any of the 500 songs that ended up on that list? Were you like, that's 174? Are you kidding me?
I was driving home yesterday, and 99 Problems was on. And 99 Problems was like,
I love that song.
It was like, I do too. And it was like somewhere in the 300s. And I thought to myself,
outrageous.
How is 99 Problems, the great Rick Rubin, the great Jay-Z, how in the world is that song in like the mid to high 300s? And then I thought to myself, you know what? I don't really have the time to go through the list and try to figure out if that's justified.
You started to, and then you were like, I'm not doing this.
I got to like 4, and I was like, okay.
I'm not even doing this with myself, much less a room full of people.
And I realized like it's just way too time consuming and ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous task, really, when you think about it.
All right, so let's get to the list now. We've got Ramie, Simone, myself, and then Kyle. Ramie, we're gonna do the old your favorite hip hop songs. Now, as you guys were saying, it's pretty difficult to run around and through the internet and try to figure out, okay, what are my 10 best? And
it's impossible.
Yeah, we're not necessarily like ranking these as our best. They're just 10 of our favorites. They're not our 10 favorites because this exercise might take a long time. So here we go. Let's get this thing started. Ramie.
The order again? What was the order again?
It goes Ramie, Simone, myself, and then Kyle.
All right. I'm going to start off with the guy who's probably my favorite rapper growing up, still maybe my favorite rapper to this day, and that's Tupac Shakur. And I don't know if you heard, Nick, you were walking in the room as I was describing my strategy. Impossible for me to just pick my favorite hip-hop song. So
yeah, very difficult.
I just picked 3 artists and then tried to pick my favorite song of theirs, which still almost an impossible task, but I went with Hit 'Em Up. Tupac, Hit 'Em Up is going to be my number 1 pick.
Tupac, Hit 'Em Up. All right.
Just the epitome of like battle rap, East Coast, West Coast, just ruthless unleashing on your arch enemy. In this case, the Notorious B.I.G.
All right, let's go to Simone. Simone second.
I will go ahead and go the other way with you. I'm taking the Big Papa with Hypnotize. That's just one of my favorites. I remember it was in one of my favorite movies growing up, so I have to take that one off.
Also on the draft board. Yes.
Yeah.
Biggie. All right, I'm gonna for the beginning of my list.
99 Problems.
It's going to go towards a little bit of the, I don't know if you'd even call it old school. I guess for Kyle, it would be old school. For me, it's not so old school, but it's somewhere there in the middle there. I'm going with Mos Def and Talib Kweli, Definition off the Black Star album. Every time that song is on, I can't help but rap along with it. I absolutely adore that song. I can listen to that song every day for the rest of my life and be very happy.
Oh, we're going to have to rejoin with it.
So give me Definition, Mos Def, Talib Kweli. All right, Kyle, you got back to back.
First one I'm going to go with, the beginning of this song just always gets me. So
he got his own music. He cuts his own music.
Wow. This is on my list too.
Yeah,
excellent
just
work.
Always good. DRE, that's really good song. I'm going to put that one down. And since everyone's picking songs from the 90s, I'll go a little more recent. We're going to go Going Bad by Meek Mill and Drake. That is on my list.
Good one.
How contemporary.
The song that squashed beef. I'm going to take that one.
I like it.
What's the song that just came out with J. Cole that I really like?
All My Life?
Yes. Love that song.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that song.
That album is really good. Would recommend if anyone hasn't heard it.
I'm going to stick old school, man. I'm going to stick with the old school. And my first pick was East Coast old school with Mos Def and Talib Kweli. I'm going West Coast for the second one. This is one of my favorites of all time. Regulate, Warren G, Nate Dogg.
That's a good pick.
When
that's a really good pick.
That thing that song is
that thing
awesome.
bangs.
I used to go to my bar in Virginia Beach and get the old touch tunes. I would play that.
I have no idea what that is.
Every single touch tunes. It's like a jukebox.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
You do know, Kyle. I guarantee you put many.
All right, so I'm going with Regulate, Warren G, Nate Dogg as my second.
All right.
All right, Simone.
Oh, it's back to me.
Yes, it is.
Already. Have to go with more of a modern classic here. Please take off the board DNA, Kendrick Lamar.
That was on my list.
Absolutely. And
that was on my list. DNA, Kendrick
Great
Lamar.
Pick. That was a great pick.
That album just it hits me every time.
Back around to me.
Of course.
The soundtrack of my high school years was the Beastie Boys. I could not have this list without a Beastie Boys song.
You might take one of
my
others.
It was just a matter of which Beastie Boys song
I totally agree.
it was going to be. And yeah, I've narrowed it down to two. I'm still trying to pick to this moment which one it's going to be. I'll just go with the origin story and Paul Revere. Give me Paul Revere.
That's on my list.
Second pick.
That's on my list. Paul Revere is one of my favorite songs. There was a Christmas party at my old radio station, and two of my buddies were up there trying to do karaoke of Paul Revere.
Yeah, you can't.
And I saved them.
You can't do the original version anymore. That is not.
I had to jump on the stage and save them from themselves.
Good call.
So.
That's a good call.
Well, I did the song, so it probably wasn't a good call. But they were struggling.
Oh, you didn't stop them from doing the song.
No.
Oh,
no.
Nick just took over.
No.
Oh boy.
That's not good. All right.
No.
Then back around.
I mean, it was like my initial reaction. What am I going to do?
I get it. I get a second pick in a row, right? I'm going to go with the Notorious B.I.G. and Juicy with my third and final pick.
Rod had mentioned that one earlier. Okay.
Another great karaoke go-to, which you actually can still do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to Simone.
Yeah. I, again, am going to take a page out of the more contemporary pieces here. This one, Monster by Kanye West. I know he's kind of canceled,
really good
but I mean, God, Nicki throws it down. Jay throws it down.
Yes.
It's just a disgusting track. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend.
I have so many, but I'm going to go. Can I take another old school one? I feel like I have to.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Your
What makes you
draft,
happy?
baby.
Living in it. Yeah.
This is the first song I think I danced to publicly at my cousin's wedding way back in the day.
You've never danced, so.
Rob Bass, DJ, Easy Rock. It Takes Two.
It takes two
That's
to
a
make
good
a
one.
thing go
Love
right.
Love it.
That's going way back.
Love it.
Still don't believe you've danced, but
Yeah,
solid pick.
That's
All right,
fiction.
Kyle. Finish this up here, brother.
I'm going to go Kendrick Lamar, differ from Simone because DNA, not one of his better songs.
Whoa.
It's a controversial take
okay,
I
now
have.
I'm going to fight Kyle.
You didn't have to throw shade at Simone. You could just make your pick.
Yeah, nobody was.
I'm going to go
That
Money
wasn't the point of
Trees.
this.
Money Trees, Kendrick
That's a great
Lamar.
song. That's a great song.
All right, others, throw them out quickly.
Get your freak on. Hot in here.
Oh,
Without me.
Missy Elliott.
Jigga what? Go
How about,
DJ.
Scenario, Tribe Called Quest.
Coming Home, Kanye
Mass
West.
Appeal.
I love Coming Home.
Renegade, Jay-Z, and Eminem.
Straight out of Compton.
Renegade's awesome. That was going to be mine if it wasn't It Takes Two. Renegade's tremendous.
There was a bunch of NWA I wanted to draft.
I'll go Biggie. A little bit more of a deep cut. I'm going to go with Give Me the Loop.
Love that
Give me the
song.
loop. Give me the loop.
Such a good storyteller.
Step Into a World, KRS-One.
Yes, KRS-One. My friend told me to get that on the list.
You can-
Busta
Ice
Rhymes.
Ice Baby.
You can throw
Vanilla Ice.
You can throw Vibrant Thing in there.
Vibrant Thing.
Love that one too.
How do you want it?
I'm upset that I don't have any Luda on my list.
Anything by Snow.
Classic. Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, you guys.
I mean, Wu-Tang too.
Shazam.
Yes.
The Mystery of Chess
Oh, my
Box.
God.
Yes.
I love that
Anything
song.
Wu-Tang.
That I should have had that one on my list. See, that's why it's
It's
impossible.
impossible.
But the Mystery
That's
of
why I
Chess
just
Box.
picked 3 artists and went from there.
Jason Downey said Wu-Tang.
There wasn't
Protect
enough.
your neck.
There wasn't enough female rappers on our list, and that's upsetting.
Jojo Rose.
I mean, you had picks too, Simone.
DMX.
Well, I'm gonna say now here and now Missy Elliott as well.
DMX from Jojo Rose. X gonna give it to you. So there you go.
Too much good stuff.
We could name 100 of them.
Yeah.
All right, more Kings talk next.
Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at PowerCopiers.com.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street. Right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Hart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical bull, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Do you have any superstitions on the golf course? You know, most players have some. Links Golf Magazine offers a few. Never tee off in front of someone who just made a birdie. That's sure to incur the wrath of the golf gods. What's your lucky ball marker? Maybe a quarter with your birth year? Never carry an extra ball in your pocket, and never use a ball you deem a water ball on a par 3 with a water hazard. There's a reason they're called water balls. And never use a ball found during a round. Using it the same day is bad karma. And if there's an unbroken tee on the tee box, another golfer left it behind for good reason. Speaking of tees, according to the late Tony Lima, white tees suffered from commonness and can be bad luck. Lee Trevino never used yellow. Other colors are acceptable except pink unless you're Paula Kramer. If you're in the middle of a career round, don't go near the ball washer. You might wash away the ball's magical awesomeness. And never talk to your competitor's ball in flight, yelling, hook, carry, get down, or hit a house. It'll come back to haunt you. Kind of makes you feel normal, huh? That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
The Gold Rush Classic, where the stars and guitars shine. The Gold Rush Classic is a celebrity pro-am golf tournament, a $1 million hole-in-one contest, a celebrity draft party, and a concert on July 13th and 14th in Rancho Murrieta. The Gold Rush Classic Stars and Guitars concert is Friday, July 14th, featuring Atlanta Rhythm Section and Skin and Leonard. Enjoy the smooth southern sounds of Atlanta Rhythm Section with their award-winning hits. Spooky, So Into You, Champagne Jam, Imaginary Lover, and more. 2 bands, one great night of Southern rock the way you remember. Enjoy an evening of Southern rock under the stars, lakeside at Rancho Murrieta's beautiful amphitheater. Tickets are available through goldrushclassic.org or through Eventbrite. Atlanta Rhythm Section, Friday, July 14th in Rancho Murrieta. For tickets or sponsorship information, go to goldrushclassic.org. Sponsored by Rancho Murrieta Homes and Land.
You know what time it is. It's time to trade up to a brand new Kia at Folsom Lake Kia during the Kia Summer Sales Event. Trade up to all the newest technology and an industry-leading warranty. Shop Folsom Lake Kia, family owned for over 20 years.
HTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Antonio Spurs announced Wednesday that French phenom Victor Wembanyama will not be joining the team in Sacramento for the California Classic, but he will join the team in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League Showcase. If you are like Wemby and won't be in the building July 3rd and 5th for the Classic, you can always tap in at SactownSports.com. A handful of NFL players are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week after allegedly violating the NFL's policy on gambling, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers joins a growing list of subjects implicated in prohibited gambling acts according to league guidelines. The NFL plans to reinforce and clarify its gambling policy to players and personnel amid the rapid proliferation of sports betting. And San Francisco Giants upstairs visiting the Blue Jays today and got worked early. Blue Jays up 5-0, bottom of the fourth.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Top spot coming at you right now on Cattles and Ramie.
Did you miss the headline and the top story of the day?
Extra, read all about it.
Don't worry, because we got you covered.
This is how we do.
It's the Cattles and Ramie.
Top spot.
So Harrison Barnes, Ramie, Harrison Barnes. Yesterday, James Ham reported that all talks between the Kings and Barnes. Can we lower that down a little bit? Thank you. I was kind of losing my train of thought as it was smashing me in the air. That all talks between Barnes and the Kings had stopped about 3 weeks ago. No more conversations between HB and the Kings. Then today, we get word that they're talking again, Ramie. James Ham says that HB is back at the table with the Kings. What do you think this means? Do you think this means that HB could be back here? It's more likely now because they're talking again, or what?
I mean, it's certainly better than not talking, right? It's more possible that he's going to be back.
True.
If they're talking than if they're not talking. But I don't know what necessarily to make of it, Nick. This could be that the Kings have been throwing feelers out there and aren't getting a lot of mutual interest from some of the free agents who maybe they had in mind with their $36 million. Maybe Harrison Barnes has feelers out there and he's not garnering the interest that he thought he might garner in free agency, and he's the one who's deciding to come back to the table. You would have to think something changed with one of, if not both of their situations or what they thought their situations will be once free agency does open up on Friday. But this also could just be one last check-in. You know what I mean? Like, hey, are you still sticking to what you said 3 weeks ago last time we talked? Yeah. How about you? You still sticking to what you said 3 weeks ago last we talked? Yep. All right. Well, let's go see what's out there for both of us and maybe reconvene in a few days if we don't find something better out there.
Maybe one side, maybe both sides feel a little bit more desperate to get a deal done for whatever reason. That could be a possibility. Maybe the Kings were big game hunting and then said to themselves, well, we're not going to be able to catch any of that big game, so let's move back to HB and go back to what we know. We know what he brings to the table. We're comfortable and confident with him. It would be very interesting to see if HB walks, what Mike Brown's reaction would be. Now, I don't expect Mike Brown to go spit hot fire into a microphone for 45 minutes and throw Monty under the bus if they ended up letting HB walk. But we can't forget, Ramie, that Mike called HB irreplaceable last season. And he's gone on record saying he wants HB back. And he thinks HB is very important and crucial to the team. So, how would Coach Brown feel if HB went elsewhere? Not sure.
I mean, we did say at the time, Nick, that not that Mike Brown was insincere or didn't mean what he said, but that's also just what he's going to say at that time when asked about Harrison Barnes. You know what I mean? You don't have a guy playing a major role on a playoff team and somebody asks you about him and you go, I don't know, man. We'll figure it out when we get there. You know what I mean? You say, no, he's invaluable to this team. We need Harrison Barnes. We got to bring Harrison Barnes back. You know what I mean? That's just what you say in that scenario. So I wasn't putting much stock in it then. We said then, if you can upgrade on Harrison Barnes, if there's a route to do so, you probably go ahead and do so. And I still feel that way today. But maybe they don't think that there's a path to upgrading on Harrison Barnes based on what they're hearing ahead of the free agent market.
We also talked today about ESPN's free agent preview piece with their insiders talking and weighing in on the offseason and free agency coming up on Friday. And 3 out of the 4 insiders said that the Kings have the most to prove. And, Ramie, they essentially said that the Kings should make a big splash. I don't know if I'm in they have to make a big splash. It'd be nice. What they have to do is they have to upgrade. And we spoke with Chris Biederman earlier on the show, and there's another side to that, which is what to you represents a big splash. It's all subjective. Some people might think Kyle Kuzma is a gigantic splash. Some people might not believe that Kuzma is as big of an upgrade over HB as others do. So that's all very subjective, but I certainly don't feel like the Kings are the team with the most to prove this offseason, and I also don't feel like they have to make this gigantic splash this offseason.
I don't feel like they have to necessarily, Nick, when talking about how it'll affect the way things play out next season. I think there are paths to improving this basketball team that aren't the big swing or the big splash or however you want to term it. But I think for the perception around the basketball world of, hey, are you gonna build on what you did last year? Or was that just a blip on the radar of the Kings breaking the playoff drought, and now they start going back to being same old Kings, slow slide back to irrelevance, if you will? Or are you going to use that $36 million to add something to what was already a 3 seed and raise some eyebrows around the NBA? You know what I mean? Because they still have the stink on them of the playoff drought, right? Where you have people putting the Lakers in the playoffs already, where we literally don't know more than 3 of their rostered players at this point. I could find you a bunch of examples like that around this league with teams that have a lot more question marks than the Kings do right now, but yet for some reason odds makers are giving them a better chance to go to and win the finals or make deep playoff runs than what they're giving the Kings. There's a reason for that. They may need to make a big splash in some people's minds to know that they're serious about taking this next step as an organization.
There's a lot of teams you could name that have more to prove with their offseason moves. And I look at it as they got to justify it. It's not necessarily like, what have you done for me lately? It's more like, well, what does your roster look like? And the moves that you make this offseason, does that move make you better? I think there's some pressure on Phoenix. That was brought up earlier in the show by Beeman in the YouTube chat with the Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal trades. That better work. If not, you are donezo. You also have Philadelphia, who could be possibly mentioned. I know Arco's Ghost in the YouTube chat brings up the 76ers. So there's a lot of options. You brought up LA, the Lakers, especially with, LeBron heading towards his 39th year on the planet. So there's a lot of options that we look at. I would not put the Kings at the top of that list. So some of the stuff we talked about regarding the Kings, and we want to continue our Kings talk. In 90 seconds, I will tell you why. If you love Keegan Murray, you might not want to like Kyle Kuzma.
Need your Niners fix?
Sactown Sports has you covered.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Trey looks significantly better than he did last year. I really do. I think his confidence is there. I think that He's throwing really good passes. I mean, just watching him, he just looks so much more comfortable and confident in the pocket, and I really appreciate that from him, from all the work that he's put into it. He just looks like he's having fun, because when he's out there having a good time, it definitely brings up everyone around him.
Get all your 49ers coverage leading into the 2023 season at Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Finally, the 4th of July sales event is here. Chad, what's going on at Hoblet?
Right now, you can lease a new 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe for only $379 a month for 36 months with $49.95 due at signing. That's a savings of up to $13,500, or you can save up to $92.50 off MSRP, plus get $37.50 in federal tax credits for a total savings of over $13,000.
So whether I lease or buy the new 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xe, I can save up to $13,000 or more?
Yeah, and now the only decision is which one you want, because we have a great selection of Wrangler 4xes with over 50 available.
Hey, find your perfect vehicle now when you search, select, and save at HobletDodge.com.
$13,500 in total net savings after $11,000 factory rebates and $2,500 dealer discount. Rebates include $7,500 federal tax credit, $3,000 CARB rebate, and $500 California bonus cash. Must be California resident qualified. 36-month lease term, $49.95 cash due at signing, plus tax, license, and accessories on approved credit through Chrysler Capital. 25 cents per mile charge of over 10,000 miles per year. $92.50 total net savings after $57.50 factory rebates and $4,000 dealer discount. Plus optional $37.50 tax credit may apply for buyers who meet current federal tax standards only. Subject to change. See your CPA for qualifications. For California residents only. 5 net savings. See dealer for details.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and more.
This is Cattles and Ramie
on Sactown Sports.
Just having to keep track of everything that's going on Twitter, just making sure I'm not missing anything.
What's going on now?
It's that time of year. Nothing. Every time I see a tweet from somebody involved with the NBA, I'm distracted. What's happening now? It's going to be even worse tomorrow and Friday.
What's going on with Van Fleet?
Fred Van Fleet about to get paid like $1 billion by the Houston Rockets. Sounds like he's going to get paid. Maybe not $1 billion, but he's going to get paid.
Show me the money.
All right, so we talked about Kyle Kuzma yesterday, and he's been a name that's been all over the place with the Kings over the last week or two. And yesterday, of course, we told you that Jake Fisher reported that Kuzma with the Kings was gaining momentum, quote unquote. And you start to look around, and one of the things you wonder is whether or not Kuzma to the Kings is gaining momentum because other Kuzma suitors are dropping like freaking flies. Utah traded for John Collins. I would expect they're out. As we just mentioned, Houston supposedly ready to offer Fred VanVleet like $40 million a year, if not more. Of course, they have cap space that they could do that and offer Kuzma something because they're at like $61 million in cap space. But their focus seems to be on VanVleet. Indiana, a lot of the Indiana talk is about Harrison Barnes, and also today, Jake Fisher wrote about Max Strus being a possibility. So maybe it's Strus, maybe it's HB, but you start to look around, all these teams that have been linked with Kuzma, many of them seem to be pivoting to something else. Mm-hmm. Is that because they're falling out of love with the idea of Kuzma, or is it because Kuzma and the Kings or Kuzma and some other team already is working on a deal? But there's one angle, Ramie, that we did not get to yesterday that I wanted to drill down on today, because I think it's very, very critical as far as, looking at where this team is and where this team is going to be going. And by the way, as I mentioned, the Pacers and Strus, Mark Stein is reporting that the Pacers are strongly weighing a 3-year deal to offer Max Strus in the $48 million range. So that just kind of furthers the idea that the Pacers could be using their space on Strus and not so much on Kuzma. But there's one thing, Ramie, that we haven't hit yet, and that's Kuzma and his impact, if it's going to be Kuzma, his impact on Keegan Murray, because we know what Harrison Barnes is. We know who he is as a player. We know Harrison is not going to necessarily get in the way of Keegan's development. That's not the type of player that HB is. He's not in love with just jacking up a bunch of crazy shots. A lot of times you watch HB and yell, hey, man, jack up a shot. You got to take one. Don't feel bad about it. Try it out. Not so much in the playoffs because he couldn't make anything. But Kuzma's signing, Ramie, how much could that obstruct Keegan's development? And should that be a concern for Monte McNair and the Kings if they are looking at Kyle Kuzma?
I wouldn't be too worried about it because we've been saying, Nick, that this team almost has to upgrade. And that doesn't necessarily have to be the big swing or the big splash, but however you do upgrade, you would think you're adding players to this team that, yes, you need rebounding, and yes, you need to upgrade the defense, but I think a prerequisite for anybody who's added to this roster is shooter, just because of the offense that Mike Brown and Jay Triano want to run, and specifically, they're going to be looking for guys that can hit the three and that can hit the spot up three, the catch and shoot three, the corner three-pointer, which are all things that Keegan Murray does and does well. But for the same reason that they drafted Keegan Murray and they liked him coming out in the draft is the same reason that they would add guys who have those same skill sets. And so I guess what I'm saying is whether it's Kyle Kuzma or whether it's a couple of guys, Harrison Barnes and Sasha Vezenkov and another piece to come off the bench, whoever it is, they're going to be guys that are going to demand shots that are going to get worked into this system and into this offensive game plan. And Keegan Murray is going to have to adjust to whatever they put around him and keep developing and keep growing and keep finding his own shot. You want to keep adding, I know this is stating the obvious, you want to keep adding quality talent and good basketball players and good shooters to this roster. Whether they're named Kyle Kuzma or anybody else, if they're taking away from Keegan Murray, then I think that's more on Keegan Murray than it is on the Sacramento Kings.
I do have some concern with Kuzma specifically. I get your point about, whether it's this guy or that guy, they're all going to take some shots away, but there are specific personalities and characteristics to human beings that make them individuals. And I can't just say, Kyle Kuzma is this guy, then HB, and it's going to be one of those two. Kuzma, to me, by the way he has talked in the past, by the way he tweets, just his approach, I think he has this motivation and goal to be at least a number 2 guy on a team. I think he's driven, which is great to be driven. But I think he's driven, though, to prove to the basketball world that he could be more than the 3rd or 4th option with the Lakers years ago, or the guy who was, putting up some good numbers on a terrible team. I think he has that motivation. And one of my concerns about Kuzma is that means for somebody that's been very inefficient, somebody who's a very streaky shooter, somebody who is a volume shooter, somebody who has questionable shot selection, if you give him the contract and he walks into that locker room and he's paid that $25 to $30 million a year, if that's what he's going to get, he's going to want to prove to the world that he is one of the guys. And he's going to want to prove to the world that he is more than what we've seen in past iterations of him as an NBA player. And so I do have some concerns that, Kuzma's penchant for taking shots and loving taking shots and loving taking threes, that will take away from Keegan's development as possibly the number 2 on this team within the next couple of years. And you also have Malik Monk. I don't know if you're going to find shots for anybody else if Monk and Kuzma are on the floor at the same time. I know Monk does a great job of, facilitating at times. He's a very good playmaker, and we talked about that a bunch this past year. But Monk also is known for not being afraid to shoot. So at a certain point, you want to see Keegan have the opportunity. And I just wonder if Kuzma and his thirst to be a top 2 option and the money, him trying to justify a contract, I do wonder if that's going to take the basketball away from Keegan and not stop him from developing, but obstruct and get in the way. Because I'd like to see Keegan try to create more. That's one of the skills he has to develop. If he wants to take the next step at the NBA level, he has to develop the ability to create offensively. He's not an ISO guy. I don't mean go Carmelo on us and just be ISO heavy. I mean being able to create opportunities for yourself and teammates with the ball in your hands. He didn't do a lot of that last year. And that's one of the main reasons why he hardly ever got to the free throw line. So I do think it's part of the math, whether you agree or disagree that this is going to, hamper some of the development of Keegan. All I know is that if you have Kuzma with the ball in his hands when Fox and Domas doesn't have it in his hands, and then you got Monk with the ball in his hands when those guys don't have it in their hands, then Keegan's going to be Keegan. And that could be fine. But the role that Keegan played last year is going to be very similar to the role that he plays this year if you upgrade over Barnes and bring in a guy who wants his shots. So, which again could be fine. But I don't know if we're going to get the answer. I don't know if we're going to get the answer about Keegan and his ability to grow as a creator offensively if you bring in another guy that wants the ball in his hands. I almost want those opportunities to go to Keegan to see if he can get to that level quicker.
I can see that, but I'm more, especially, and if I'm Mike Brown and Monty McNair, I'm certainly thinking this way. This is more about the Kings and their development as a whole than it is about Keegan Murray individually. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you feel like adding Kyle Kuzma or whoever it might be, adding them to this roster makes you a better basketball team, even if it means slightly slowing down the development of a Keegan Murray, I think it's still something that I'm thinking. I think
it's a great question.
For sure.
Like the great question is, hey, are you willing to somewhat limit the development of Keegan over the next year or two if it means you're bringing in somebody who's going to take the shots from him, going to take the usage from him, if it means that the team is more successful? If it makes the team better and it makes the team closer to a Western Conference Finals, let's say, then are you as worried or as focused on Keegan's development with that scenario? But I think it's something that you got to think about if you're Monty, and I'm sure he's thought about it. He's probably thought about it a lot. If we bring in somebody, how will they mix with the others? And will, in any kind of way, will it limit Keegan's ability to grow and develop and maybe become the guy? Because a lot of people see Keegan as the eventual second best player on this team. And I don't think you get there unless he's able to develop those other skills. And is he given the room to grow and develop those other skills if he has even more guys in front of him? Callbacks coming up.
Cattles
and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
This 4th of July, it's all about selection and convenience. With 17 award-winning dealers, 20 brands, and thousands of vehicles, the Roseville Auto Mall has Northern California's largest selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relieved, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Sactown Sports.
I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. The San Antonio Spurs announced Wednesday that French phenom Victor Wembanyama will not be joining the team in Sacramento for the California Classic, but he will join the team in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League Showcase. If you are like Wemby and won't be in the building July 3rd and 5th for the Classic, you can always tap in at SactownSports.com. A handful of NFL players are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week after allegedly violating the NFL's policy on gambling, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers joins a growing list of subjects implicated in prohibited gambling acts according to league guidelines. The NFL plans to reinforce and clarify its gambling policy to players and personnel amid the rapid proliferation of sports betting. And San Francisco Giants upstairs visiting the Blue Jays today. Got worked early, but fighting back. Blue Jays up 5-1, top of the 6th. I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Welcome back into Cattles and Ramie. Kyle, please hit that call back.
I'm going to light up these phone lines.
The phone is ringing.
And we are checking to see who's on the line.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
News, gossip, a story.
Okay, who's the next victim?
It's the callback
on Cattles and Ramie.
By the way, Justin texted in off our conversation last segment about if you sign Kyle Kuzma, does that stunt the growth and development of Keegan Murray, and is it worth it if that is the case? Justin texted in, good call, no Kuz. So
just like that?
Yeah.
Just like that, Justin?
Justin says, do not impede the progress of one Keegan Murray by signing Kyle Kuzma.
So I guess that's the end of that conversation.
You're that easily swayed, Justin?
I mean, why does it have to be painted that way? Why can't you say, oh, Nick, you made a pretty good persuasive argument.
Presented some really clear points about the development of Keegan and being better for the future.
Because I believe in being stubborn.
Why do you hate me is the question. What's the broken function here between us?
You know that's not true. You're my guy.
I'm a shoe-in for hate of the year.
Shoe-in for hate of the year. All right, let's get to the callback. That's what we're doing here today, Nick. That's what we're doing. So we had Chris Biederman on the program earlier today. He, of course, as all guests on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda.
Your one-stop Honda shop. Hey!
And
how about that? Look at that. I told you it'd come together.
I helped that one along.
Nick sang a little bit. That was cool.
Reps, baby.
So Chris Biederman, will the Kings take a big swing on Friday?
Yeah, if you're in this business of sports media, you gotta be prepared for anything. I think it sounds like, and I know other people are reporting this, that the Harrison Barnes thing is gaining steam, and so I guess that wouldn't really surprise me, given how much adoration Mike Brown showed for Harrison Barnes last year, calling him really irreplaceable at various points throughout last season. But the Kings cleared up all that cap space for a reason, I would think. So we'll have to see. But if they did bring back Harrison Barnes and sign Domantas Sabonis to an extension, I think that would certainly make sense. I also think there would certainly be questions about, are the Kings getting substantially better if that's the way they spend their resources this offseason. So I'm kind of ready for everything. I think the Kings are a really interesting team, given that they were the 3 seed, given that they did open up a bunch of cap space and could potentially get better. Whether or not they're a free agent destination, so to speak, remains to be seen. But they are a team that I think has a chance to make a substantial leap if they can acquire some pieces. But we'll have to see if they're able to do it.
I'll get to that in a second. But Daniil Butt, that is his name. He was just drafted in the NHL draft. And the reason why I bring this up is he looks like he's 12.
Oh, I thought because his name was Butt.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's 12 years old. He's tall, but his face, it looks like he's 12.
He does. He looks like he doesn't shave.
So I just thought about this. The word I would use is underwhelmed. But what word would you use if it came to pass that the Kings signed Harrison Barnes for, let's say, $16 million, $17 million. Let's say $16 million. And then they bumped Domas $8 million. What word would you use if on Friday we're talking about the Kings using 24 of their $35 million available to them
to bring back Harrison Barnes and extend Sabonis? And don't forget about Kessler Edwards. They also
add another $2 million.
Kessler Edwards.
$26 million of your $35 million went to Barnes, Sabonis, and Kessler Edwards.
Yeah, I would probably underwhelmed is probably the word that I would use.
Not great, right?
No, but I mean, you also have to factor in the fact they did make the offer to Vezenkov.
You almost said factor in the fact.
If he takes that and then you still have $12 million to play with to further upgrade the bench, or like I said, maybe get somebody who can push Harrison Barnes to the bench, then at the end of the day, you'll have upgraded. And depending on what those pieces are, Nick, while not big swings or knock your socks off type of moves, maybe they're the types of moves that give them the ability to do what you and I talked about them not having the ability to do during the playoffs, which is be versatile in the ways that they can beat you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
If they are able to accomplish that task, that goal of making this a more versatile roster for whatever matchups they might face in the playoffs, then low key, I think you should be pretty happy about it. While it's not, opening the big present under the tree on Christmas Day, if they've done that, I think that's low key something Kings fans could be happy and satisfied with.
I think there could be a decent chunk of Kings fans that would be very disappointed if it was 25, 26 million of that 35 million in cap space going to Domas, Barnes, and Kessler Edwards. I think they'd be pretty disappointed.
JJ would be upset.
I would not want to be near JJ on Friday. I'd love to be near JJ on Friday.
Just in general,
generally
speaking.
But I think I'm not sure JJ will be on the show on Friday. Sounds like he might still be in the morning on Friday. But that might be a good thing, because if that's the result, JJ gonna be on. He's gonna be on one.
Yes, he is.
He is going to be on one. All right, back to Chris Biederman on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Here he is talking about prioritizing flexibility more than just one specific player with this aforementioned cap space.
I think it's fair to say Richaun Holmes in his contract, $12 million a year for a guy who's out of your rotation, getting him off the books is prudent, sort of no matter what your long-term plan is. So if you're going to have a guy on your bench who's making $12 million, who you're just not going to play and who doesn't fit the style of play that your new coaching staff is implementing, then it absolutely makes sense to try to move off of him and clear up space. I think what McNair ultimately, and I don't know this, the Kings are very, very tight-lipped, but I would say ultimately what McNair wanted was flexibility, and whether that's having a seat at the table when it comes to free agent negotiations with some of these guys, and just having the flexibility to make a pretty drastic move if one were to present itself, right? Like if somehow Cam Johnson sign and trade from Brooklyn becomes available, then the Kings do have the cap space and the trade exception to make something like that work potentially.
They no doubt have flexibility. It's what you do with that flexibility. And what is the big swing? Is there a big swing? Do you actually consider what they do a big swing? They might consider a big swing being X. You might consider a big swing being Y. So there's just so much. It's a lot of fun to think about. There's a lot of possibilities. But, of course, Ramie, with the possibilities and the flexibility, I think becomes more pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think this fan base is, and they should be looking forward to Friday. I don't know what the Kings are going to do. And I'm not sold that there are a lot of people outside of Monty McNair's office that know what they're going to do or want to do. All I can say is, and we said this on Monday, the trade on draft night opened up a lot of different avenues and paths and possibilities. And you should be excited that the Kings are at least in this position to do something that could be considered a big swing.
Not many teams that are the 3 seed find themselves in this position.
No.
With this kind of opportunity to improve on their roster.
Not at all.
Literally no other playoff team has cap room this offseason. Not a one.
And
Kings are the only ones.
That's significant. I think that's very significant because you can match a lot of these deals that are going to be thrown out there as offers for any free agent that you're into.
Yep.
And it always goes to the free agent. Like if Kyle Kuzma wants to be a number 2 option and the Kings, he might not be sold on the idea as being the number 2 here in Sacramento, then he might go elsewhere where he has the opportunity. But you're walking into free agency as the 3 seed. 2 wins away from 50 on the season. The stability of the GM, the stability of the head coach. Fox Domas, 2 All-NBA players. Keegan Murray, very promising young player. Made the All-Rookie team. $36 million in cap space. A $12 million trade exception. A $7.7 million room exception. All of these things you have in your arsenal as you approach free agency. You're in a great spot. You are in a fantastic spot.
Yep.
This spot is even better than we thought the spot they would be in, and we thought they'd be in a pretty strong position. I mean, this is really strong. It's all just up to, what are the ideas? Who's available via trade that we might not even be talking about? And who's willing to say yes to the deal? But you should be excited. And I also think it'd be fair if you were underwhelmed or disappointed if it was, hey, we're running back HB, Domas, and Kessler Edwards. That would be a little bit deflating. And you have all the right in the world to feel that way if you feel that way, if that's what happens on Friday.
Sure. I don't tell people how to fan, Nick.
It's kind of scary in your head, right? Because like when you're going through these things, you're like, ooh, they have the cap space to do this. They have the cap space to do that. And you start getting your hopes up and you start getting really excited. And then if it's like HB, Domas extension, and a third point guard.
After 17 names have been thrown around in the last 3 weeks.
After you've read everything, right? OG Anunoby, Kyle Kuzma, Draymond Green, this one, that one.
PJ Washington, John Collins, Pascal Siakam.
And it's like, hey, you brought back Harrison Barnes, you extended Domas, and you signed this other dude for like $5-6 million. Vezenkov too.
And Taurean Prince.
Worst thing that could happen, though.
Harrison Barnes, a Domas extension, and Taurean Prince. So you're doing cartwheels.
If they end up on the outside looking in, Nick, you know what I mean? If they try to get in on some of these free agents and Harrison Barnes walks in the meantime, or say you've brought up this possibility a couple times, they get in on somebody who's a restricted free agent, and during the waiting period that the market just dries up, that would be the worst thing that could happen to the Kings. They need to be active and be active early and make sure that they're not left holding the bag. Literally, just sitting there with a bag of money, just like nobody wants this. Nobody's going to come play for the Kings for all this money, because that could happen if the dominoes fall the wrong way.
Weren't we saying this during the trade deadline?
Yes,
though?
we were.
Okay.
Yes, we were.
Just checking.
Mm-hmm.
And you could argue that an inactive trade deadline
did happen. Yes.
Ended the season a little bit prematurely.
Or was it Steph Curry shooting lights out?
We're not going to do this.
Okay. I'll turn it
I
off.
appreciate the effort, but we're not going to.
Okay.
We're not going to.
That's fair.
I have a very important story to tell next. So.
By the way,
we want to make sure.
Thanks to Chris Biederman for joining us again. He was on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Ramie will tell this very important story coming up next.
The King season might be over,
But Sactown sports coverage never stops.
It's probably one of the best starting points I could have had starting in the NBA, Sacramento.
Stay tuned all off season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
You know what time it is. It's time to trade up to a brand new Kia at Folsom Lake Kia during the Kia Summer Sales Event. Trade up to all the newest technology and an industry-leading warranty. Shop Folsom Lake Kia, family owned for over 20 years.
It's almost the 4th of July, and you know what that means. One of the biggest grilling parties you can throw all year. Nick Cattle suggesting you celebrate your 4th of July the right way with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Our Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned us into pros. Napoleon grills are all made with premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Go to Napoleon.com for your nearby Napoleon Grills dealer. Napoleon Grills, now is the time for the best selection of grills and fine accessories. Get ready for the 4th of July.
Prestige line comes with a lifetime warranty. Sacramento Kings basketball is back this summer. Catch 6 games of NBA action and fun for the whole family when the California Classic Summer League returns on July 3rd and 5th. The Kings will host the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, and newly added San Antonio Spurs and Charlotte Hornets with the number 1 and number 2 NBA draft picks. 2-day passes start at just $42 and include access to all 6 games. Visit kings.com/California Classic for more information and to buy your tickets today.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air in a public place in front of your kids and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using Stem mosquito repellent is the right way. Stem effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave coming to you for Amy's Outdoor Living in Sacramento on El Camino near Watt and El Dorado Hills Town Center. They've got what you need for your 4th of July celebration. Now listen, Amy's going to pay all the sales tax on all of their huge selection of in-stock furniture, cushions, and umbrellas. Their best selection of umbrellas in tons of sizes and colors. Amy's Outdoor Living is your grilling headquarters with Traeger, Weber, Big Green Egg. You gotta see those in-store savings. Free assembly and delivery on all grills for the 4th of July. And they've got a wonderful selection of rubs and sauces. Buy 4, get 10% off. And they've got 20% off home decor accessories. What more do you need? Amy's Outdoor Living on El Camino near Watt and inside Amy Ace Hardware right there in the El Dorado Town Center. Enjoy your 4th of July, and you tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
It's the 4th of July sell-a-thon at Folsom Lake Ford. All your favorite models on sale. F-150s, Explorers, Broncos in stock now. Don't miss 4th of July savings. Shop FolsomLakeFord.com, your truck headquarters.
With you 1 mile at a time during the afternoon drive. Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
Tell you what, man. I deserve an award for biting my tongue this week.
I don't have an award to give you.
Ooh, I couldn't hear, but I could see through the glass. And
is my appreciation award enough? I appreciate you.
Yes.
All right, good.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad.
So we got to get to this story that you wanted to share with people. But first, there's a pretty great soundbite that I consider it pretty great. Maybe people will disagree, but I thought this was pretty good. So there's lots of Tobias Harris stuff floating around.
Mm-hmm.
As we've talked about, as we get ready for free agency, there's a lot of Tobias Harris stuff. There's just a lot of stuff, period, end of sentence. People getting ready for Friday and, who's available, who's not available, et cetera, et cetera. And Tobias Harris has been part of all that. So Tobias Harris was on NBC Sports Philly. I don't know if this was like a community thing or something, but it looked like he was playing basketball or he was involved with some kind of event. And NBC Sports Philly catches up with Tobias, and they end up grabbing him, pulling him aside, and asking him about these rumors.
Trade speculation, casual Sixers fans, they'll trade me for a crumble cookie.
His trade conversations, 76ers, casual 76ers fans would trade me for a crumble cookie.
Trade speculation. Casual Sixers fans, they'll trade me for a crumble cookie.
Crumble cookies are pretty good, though, man. You ever had a crumble cookie?
I don't know if I have.
They're really good.
We might have some this Friday. They're a sponsor of the morning show.
Really,
sponsors.
It's a quality cookie. It's a quality cookie.
Yeah.
I mean, I've acted pretty obscene before at Golden One Center for whenever they're doing those free.
Oh yeah, they're the free
yeah.
free cookie giveaway.
I mean, I've lost it for tacos, for all kinds of things. So I'm with them here.
You got to download an app. It's a whole thing.
Free
to get
pizza
for a cookie.
Yeah.
Not doing all that.
Sounds like Tobias is painfully aware of.
But did you know Tobias Harris?
The feelings towards him from 76ers fans, at least some of them.
Did you know he owns
cookie?
Couple of crumble cookie franchises?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Look at you, Tobias.
That is smart.
Look at you
Ultimate
doing work.
plug.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got. All right.
Look at you
Nice
doing
little
work.
plug by Tobias Harris right there.
Tremendous.
Did you see how Crumble Cookie responded to him?
No, tell me.
Crumble Cookie tweeted out, if Tobias Harris stays on the Philadelphia 76ers, everyone in Philly gets a free cookie.
Oh
Everyone gets a cookie.
By the way, what's wrong with our YouTube? Is there something wrong
What
with
do you mean? What happened?
I don't know. It's just gone. Unless it's just me.
I think it's just you.
Yeah,
Really?
it's just you.
I pulled
I
up.
still see my handsome face
All right.
right there.
Well, there you go.
And you too, but my handsome face.
Well, that handsome face is about to tell us a story that he just couldn't wait to tell us.
I could not wait. Nick, I was terrible at being single. I don't know about you because I just never I couldn't.
It's been a long time. I can't even remember.
Couldn't work. I had a hard time working up the courage to shoot the shot, often. And I'm just amazed by some dudes and some of the shots that they're willing to shoot. No pun intended.
Shot selection.
Yes.
When some dudes are Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah,
telling
just
me.
launch it. Just launch it. You know what I mean?
Jordan Poole. Yeah.
So before we continue, just a quick thing about that. I worked at Cutco Cutlery when I was in college, and one of the things that they would say to people, especially dudes, was like, "Hey, if you're look at sales as if you're at the bar or at a nightclub.
That'll help.
No,
this
is giving me a yucky
Just say
feeling.
you gotta
wait. Just wait.
You gotta work through the nose before you." You might not catch the lady's eye, everybody. So you might have to.
It's a numbers game.
It's a
numbers game,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Play the
I had a
numbers game.
feeling.
Well, we go to the Washington, D.C. area, and it was around 4 a.m. on May 8th, and Amber Baran arrived home after delivering pizzas, she told the Post. She ducked into her house to feed her pets before popping back outside to check the mailbox. As she emerged, a stranger approached, prompting her to ask if she could help him. She said, he asked if she lived there. Unnerved, Braun told a truth and a lie. Yes, she lived there with her boyfriend, who was home, she said. That's when the man allegedly pulled a gun out of his hoodie pocket, aiming it at her chest. The man told Baran that he had planned to break into her house, but because she had unexpectedly shown up, he demanded she fork over her keys. She told him she didn't have anything of value in her home, but could give him $100 in tips she made that night delivering pizzas. An Indianapolis police detective wrote in a sworn affidavit. The man agreed, ordering her to her 2006 Impala to fetch the money. Braun did as she was told, opening the driver's side door and grabbing the cash from her purse. While doing so, she offered the man a pizza that she had taken home from her job, telling him something along the lines of, I know it's hard when you're struggling.
All right, quick timeout.
She's
there.
the nicest lady in the world.
I was gonna say, like, you're getting robbed.
Yes.
And you offer the person the pizza.
After he declined, Braun gave him the money.
And he declined. How about that? The chutzpah on that guy.
I give him the $100 thinking that's enough to sate him and he will hopefully leave me alone. Instead, the stranger mumbled something about his family and then asked a question she did not expect. You really have a boyfriend?
Oh, my God.
Yes, she told him. Does he treat you right? She recalled him saying, well, he's not robbing her, so that's a start.
You got to be kidding me.
She was stunned, unsure of how to respond, but eventually said yes. The man then did something else unexpected.
What if she said no?
He asked whether they could be Facebook friends. With the gun still trained on her, Braun agreed. Police said the man allegedly told her his name was Damian Boyce, and after she typed that into Facebook's search bar, he pointed out his profile before hopping on his bike and taking off.
Hopping on his bike.
Later, Boyce accepted Braun's friend request, police said, and his first message came less than 3 hours after he had left her place.
He was thirsty.
Look, just know I'm going to pay you back, he allegedly wrote, acknowledging that robbing her was a bad way to meet, and she was, quote, too pretty to rob.
Oh, my God.
Braun replied later that morning,
I'm overwhelmed.
according to messages.
There's so much in this. I am overwhelmed.
She said, I believe you, man. I can tell you're sweet. Times just get tough. I know that.
You're sweet.
Then she was just trying to get rid of this guy. Boyce told her he felt bad and swore to pay her back, the messages show. Then Boyce allegedly invited her to, quote, come chill with me. She said, I do have a man. You know I can't do that. I wish you the best, though.
Guy robbed her at gunpoint.
Yes.
She offered him a pizza.
Yes.
He turned down the pizza. He then hit on her. Then
Do you really have a boyfriend?
jumped on his bicycle to cycle himself home after getting the Facebook
friend
situation
request,
figured out. And then 3 hours later, he Facebook messages her.
You want to
admitting
chill?
that he just committed a crime.
You want to come chill with me?
To ask her if she wants to hang out that night.
Needless to say, he was caught.
Oh, you don't say. That they got a hold of the Mensa? You don't say.
The audacity.
Mensa.
The gall.
Oh, my God.
God, dudes are the worst.
Dudes are the worst.
Lost in this terrible, terrible story. Just a terrible criminal. Just terrible.
Yeah,
across
just
the
bad
board.
at it.
Again, there's just so much to unpack.
Oh, my God.
Thanks to Kyle. Thanks to Simone as well. Ramie, good stuff.
Come chill with me.
Back tomorrow. Cattles and Ramie, Sactown Sports. Because James Ham had some numbers, and I had some numbers, and my numbers didn't match his numbers. I figured it out.
You and Ham had some beef.
So no. There's no beef. At least not from my end.
I like it, Ramie. Thank you.
Ramie just wanted to make a meat joke.
There was no beef with James Ham.
That's baloney.
I'm sorry. Continue on.
Three of you together at times.
Carry on. So you're math. You're doing math.
Okay.
That joke cut deep.
So I'm going to power through.
Gotcha.
So if he makes all NBA again, he can get a 5-year, $246 million extension.
I don't know what that was.
You mute
It
your
wasn't you,
computer.
Kyle. It was.
Yeah,
I just did.
It was,
Ramie forgets to mute his computer every day. Sometimes we just luck out. Most of the time when a sound goes off, it's during a break. But this time it was smack dab in the middle of the week.
I got an email.
I'm never going to get through the math!
Go ahead.
Sounds like you've got beef now.
I'm going to fight all of you. You know what? Just stop it, Kyle. Come in here, and I'm going to fight you. And Simone, you take over the board. And if it gets bad for Kyle, call the cops.
This is a little too raw for me.
I'm
no chicken.
Keep your heart. Hey, keep your heart. 3 stacks.